And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 60. And in this episode of the MSK show, we are going to be talking about Democrat and liberal and TikTok influencer tears from Donald Trump winning the 2024 presidential election, Kamala Harris getting completely eviscerated. And it's been just glorious to obviously watch. And as I've told people in my personal life, and I told you guys this too, these guys are going to be crying about this not just for like the next few weeks, forever, until he's actually not president anymore. They'll keep crying about this because there's this one thing that I've told people that is going to be insanely consistent with how these people think. They in their mind can't fathom and understand how she had all these endorsements, all these celebrities and movie stars backing her, and she couldn't win. They can't fathom that they had all this influence that they surprisingly didn't know was shrinking after all these many years, and surprisingly didn't win. Also, fun fact, she raised more money than him during their presidential campaigns. She raised about, $8 billion or some shit, and is now in debt, and he raised, $2 billion, and with less of the influence, based off the influencers attached to her compared to him, she got destroyed on a level that I've never seen in my entire life. I've never seen an entire country like we have, or continent we have, or whatever, with a bunch of states, a bunch of people, cities, towns. There's backwater fucking towns in this fucking place that you'll never hear of. They all said loudly, "We do not want you. We hate your party. Never restructure yourself." Essentially, they rejected everything. Yeah, because I imagine parents don't want their kids having their genitals chopped off. I'd imagine parents do not want to hear their fucking candidate talk about abortion constantly. Oh yeah, here, the best thing that I can offer you is I know you can't afford groceries, but how about that abortion? It's what the fuck? Crazy.
There was literally people the day after the election I can't believe you guys chose cheaper groceries over the health of women in this country. It's oh yeah, people chose to feed their kid over their getting their one night stand aborted. It's it's a shocker how that happened. No one could have ever predicted it.
The thing that, and of course, this is just par for the course, like we're talking other personal accountability never occurs to these people. You have to be able to do whatever you want and then be able to,
they're not personally accountable for anything. There's how in the world,
and they think they're in the morally right. That's why all these people are breaking down, because they believe in whatever they think they're morally right. That's how they justify attacking. That's how they justify their actual violence. Man.
They actually thought they were Goku and this is Dragon Ball Z, and they were actually going to achieve Super Saiyan if Krillin died.
No, we've been saying it for a while now. These people think the Marvel movies are real. They think that they're the Avengers and everyone else is Hydra, and that's how their whole concept of how the world works. But I wanted to highlight this here for a second, because the celebrity endorsement truly died in this election. I'm going to read off just a list of names who came out to support Kamala Harris during this election cycle. Now, when you talk about who's the biggest name we can possibly get that can sway voters into this election, you can't get any bigger in the world of entertainment than these names right here. Here's a list. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Cardi B, Eminem, Fat Joe, Bad Bunny, LeBron James, Oprah, Dave Bautista, Katy Perry, Megan Thee Stallion, Jennifer Lopez, Barack Obama, Seth Curry, Diddy, Seth Rogen, Billie Eilish, Lizzo, the entire WNBA, the entire state of Puerto Rico, the WWE locker room, and the Avengers, and she still lost. But not just lost, crushed.
I will wait. Are those the endorsements, or is that the Diddy list?
Both.
I could care less about anybody on that list.
I also want to point out, a lot of these dudes have just a little bit of asterisks there. The WNBA has never had influence ever. That's important. Saying they have influences is pretty man, that's scraping the bottom of the barrel. They only were relevant this year because of Caitlin Clark. And let's be honest here, once her team was out, no one really cared to watch any more games anymore. Scroll up. This is what the average people won't understand about this list. Just Taylor Swift, Eminem, and LeBron James right there. You think it'd just be enough for her to win? And even no one. It doesn't matter. They have if you ask people about these names in your regular conversation, everyone knows names like that. The average people know who they are, and they didn't give a fuck anymore. It doesn't matter. movie star, influence, singer, artist, whatever you want to call them.
They were expecting like these people to have like cult-like superpowers. Be like, well, Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris. All of the Swifties are going to vote for it too, and then we're going to win.
Taylor Swift sold her soul to the devil, man. That's got to be how like
everyone on this list has sold their soul to the devil.
Oh yeah. It's like her music, man. It's just like, oh. You know, if you're gonna do that, could you at least make, I don't know, good music? No.
Everyone on this list is on a party bus to hell right now. That's really what the reality of the situation is.
Not on that list, but I'm done with them, and they were like one of my favorite bands for forever, dude. Listening to them since the 90s was Foo Fighters, man.
Lizzo. Remember when Lizzo announced that she was gonna lose weight, and everyone praised her for that? And yeah, it was good. She should lose weight. She shouldn't be a fat fucking ape. But everyone on her side were like, no, why are you doing that? It's like, and then she still voted for them. God.
Like I said, all of these people are compromised. This is the dirty little secret.
Rico, the entire country of
Puerto Rico.
Oh, God,
remember when people were acting like the week before the election, I can't believe that comedian said that line about Puerto Rico. Now Trump is going to lose because some comedian made a joke about Puerto Rico.
That's what my best friend, who's like, he's a classic Democrat, he said something about that to me. Like, I'm just like, and he's been kind of waking up over the past few years, but he still can't help but like pick up on their little talking points, man.
And what I told people, even when the whole Puerto Rico controversy is like, here, guys, listen, the reason why the Puerto Rico comment does not matter is because in reality, most Hispanics don't even like Puerto Rico. It's like, there's a lot of people in the Hispanic community who hate Puerto Rico. No one's going to be crying a river. Just because a couple of Puerto Ricans from the Bronx are upset because somebody made a joke about the country that they choose not to live in, doesn't mean that's going to sway an election.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, I'm just saying here that they couldn't have possibly. If you looked at the world of basketball, music, movies, they got everyone they possibly could. Even the former Barack Obama himself was on the campaign trail doing his whole Barack Obama shtick, and that didn't work at all. So. Like hopefully next election they don't try to do this again because they realize that this does not work at all. But guys, just in case you guys didn't know us, did you guys know that I was on Fox News this week?
Yeah, that was great.
Did you guys see that little clip? I'm gonna go ahead and play it now while our MSK is somewhere on the toilet or something like that. I was going to assume. But so the little backstory here for this event, that Tuesday I was at the Kid Rock's bar in Nashville. They were doing the Fox Nation coverage. We were live on Fox Nation. Occasionally it got tossed over to Fox News as well. And I talked to this lovely lady here, Abby Hornacek, who's one of the correspondents over at Fox News and Fox Nation. And we had a good conversation. We even took a picture. She's like my new best friend now. But essentially, she asked right before we went live, it's like, hey, do you want to go live and talk to the people for a short minute? And it's like, yeah, sure, I got a minute. I got one 60-second interval I can spare. And then this is essentially what happened.
Hey, there we go. How about you? This is a nice hat.
Yeah, very nice hat.
Where are you from?
From Georgia, actually.
Georgia. All right, big night for Georgia. What has been your reaction so far? And have you made friends with the folks over here?
Yeah, I know some of these people. Some of them I haven't met yet, but no. I mean, it looks pretty good so far. We know we're still kind of holding out. We know we're at Georgia, obviously. North Carolina State with ball paying attention to. I think Wisconsin's actually probably the most surprising one so far tonight. So we hope that flips our direction. So there's reason to be hopeful, but no, we're still waiting out to hear the actual results saying that hey, he's been reelected. So
what drove you to the polls this election?
I think it was the economy. I think that was the number one reason. A lot of people are just out there suffering right now, and it's really the position that there's a lot of people doing worse than they were 4 years ago, and they're tired of being told that no, they're actually doing well when they're not really doing well. And I think that's going to be the number one reason that drives people to the polls, and depending on the results of the election, that might be the deciding factor.
And turned out that was the deciding factor.
NRA shirt based.
I'd say is the person being interviewed there was clearly hiding his bias and was hoping to take more rights away from women. That's the underlying that I saw.
No, that's fair. That's a fair statement.
With his fascist T-shirt.
The guy in the interview, I hear if you check his Twitter, he has some racist, bigot, homophobe tweets that you should probably look into. You know?
That's also fair. I mean, that's
I don't know if Fox News endorses a person like yourself.
Well, they did. I mean, you know, this is my first rodeo with the Fox News. So,
God. Oh,
but yeah, we were there on Tuesday night. Obviously, we were there when they made that announcement that Trump won. When basically when Pennsylvania had went to Trump, and that was like kind of the one everyone was hanging on. But when they officially gave it to him, like everyone was like, "Oh yeah, it's over now." So while people were literally killing themselves, killing their families, and literally threatening to jump off of bridges, like we were just out there partying, living all live long day out in Nashville, having a good old time. Which goes to show you that, you know, as far as this world goes, there are people living in two completely different realities. Because one is just like, you know, it's nothing but doom and gloom. It's nothing but, oh my God, my life is over. Trump's gonna kill us. This is Nazi Germany all over again. And now I gotta hoard all the estrogen because, you know, I spent all of my life pretending to be a woman, and now he's gonna take that all away. And then meanwhile, the rest of the people, the normal people, were out doing this and just being happy and merry. I got another video here once MSK.
It was overall, it was just another repeat of 2016. The whole point, they sent Kamala's onlookers home early, like they did with Hillary. Trump's party kept going the entire time. I mean, the mood, as the night started to break more and more, I'm like, this feels like 2016 all over again, except for this time he did better than in 2016.
Yeah. So what were we gonna say?
No, you're fine. I'll let you go.
So I was gonna say, as you know, black women were in their car screaming to the top of their lungs and going viral this week. This is what was happening nearly at the exact same time. So as you can see, it was a pretty packed house.
Yeah.
I will also point out that the one black lady yelling the way she did, there was a meme of the white lady that did it back in 2016, the big iconic like yell that she did.
Oh, the
original. Yeah.
The completely set up, staged, or making sure a camera was on her.
Yeah.
And getting it all set up.
The caption was the original versus the Disney remake.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Oh, dude, I got something MSK you're gonna have to share, man. Or let me see.
Man, like just seeing the way everything panned out is crazy. Like people are having like actually legitimate meltdowns. It's like they legitimately think there was someone that said Trump is gonna stop biracial marriage. I'm pretty sure we're not in the 1960s.
No.
Okay.
Well, first of all, that would never happen because that would mean white men can't date Asian women again. That's just not going to happen. So that's a pipe dream in and of itself. But secondly, I thought it was very hilarious that now all of a sudden these liberal women are talking about, oh, we're going to go on sex strikes. We're not going to open our legs to any man until Trump is out of office. So it's like, oh, so you're saying that the problem of abortion has solved itself.
Hey, check this out.
We didn't need Agenda 2025. They're doing it themselves.
All right, check this out, man.
I'm sorry. No. Why?
And I just think to myself too, it's like, what has possessed this generation of people to post their meltdowns on social media, knowing that they're only going to last on the internet forever? So it's like you gain nothing by doing this.
It is the bane of social. It's the bane of social media, And the
Mhm.
generation growing up within social media thinking that this is okay, because everyone in that generation growing up right now wants to be famous, wants to be an influencer. You have less people that are saying, I want to be a soldier, I want to be a cop, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. No, it's I want to be an influencer.
Yeah. I just don't get it from any rational perspective. I mean,
why would
like,
you want to like record yourself being an absolute freak? Man.
I mean, it's
I
literally
I don't get it either, man. It's like it's not gonna go away. You're gonna be forever. Man, I wonder what happened to that lady who did the screaming on the sidewalk from 2016. Somebody cosplayed at a Trump rally as her, put on the green jacket, and the jogging and all that, man. But like,
but bro,
every time she gets online, she sees that picture, and it's just
it's like there's sex tapes, and then there's meltdown videos, like right there. It's like they're both gonna last on the internet forever. It's like, why would you do that to yourself?
Mm-hmm. Well, my big thing from all of this is women, because as people know, I love shitting on modern women in general, because I think women are just fucking hypocrites and they're just liars and pathological idiots. To be fair, you can kind of mix that up with however you want to see what I just said.
Not particularly getting out of order.
Yeah, because women just might be some of the dumbest fucking people I have ever graced my presence with. Like, just look at what's happening.
Women you're surrounding yourself with.
Oh no, we're gonna really.
Now, are we talking about like real women, or are we talking about the women you sleep with all the time? Because we need to
AI generated women don't count.
Yeah,
no, man.
Imaginary women do not count.
You're right about certain things, man. There's exceptions, of course, but like you sound kind of like a jaded person with a divorce. You sound like me a few years ago, but then I was just like, I remembered, I married a psycho hose beast.
I was on that side of, I was on the side of the feminine man. It's like, okay, women aren't all that bad. Some guys are just picking back. No, women suck ass.
Look, to be fair, and Diesel has a point here. To be fair, if you're going to be that bitter about women, you have to have like lost a home. You have to have lost like a custody battle or something like that. You have to actually like really lost something.
Someone tried to ruin your life with your daughter for like the past like 20 years.
Hey, MSK has valid grievance. He lost the bed in the divorce.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's why we haven't seen him since.
So I know like nowadays it's like a thing to call out women, but but back in the day, if guys were to call out women, then the media or a lot of friends you probably know be like, that's just toxic masculinity. I'm so glad you can call out women now. Women, a lot of them now are going on TikTok doing this bullshit saying we're not gonna sleep with a bunch of guys, we're not gonna do this.
You seen those people? Ain't nobody hooking up with you. Good grief! Now I'm talking about it was man. Look, man, I don't want to. I'm trying not to like get too mean with people in certain times, man. You know, like it gets you got to get motivated to get in shape and all that kind of stuff. But some of them creatures are just like. I'm like, oh my goodness, what are you doing, dude, man? It's like you're not a 10, lady.
There's so many like hypocritical bullshit things that women are saying. So the biggest thing that women were lied to was that they don't need a man, they can be independent, they can do everything by themselves. Now, I will say the only thing that I say that could work for that is I personally would like if the woman would like work and have her own things. I don't mind that. I think most grown adults should do that. But women were lied to in like the whole sexual promiscuity thing. And now these women are going like, you know what?
You'll be fulfilled by, just hooking up with a bunch of dudes, not having kids, not getting a family, all that kind of stuff. And then now that you wind up years later that they're miserable. Crowder talked about this stuff like for the past several years, man.
Yeah. A bunch of women now are simply just going like, you know what? I'm not going to do all these things anymore. Okay, so if you're not going to sleep with random guys as much as you did, what was the criteria for letting them sleep with you?
I'm not going to sleep with a man until he respects me. So you were sleeping with a man who didn't respect you before? Is that what you're saying?
MSK, the requirement was a heartbeat, and sometimes that was probably optional.
I'm just pointing out women
batteries.
With some of these women, they didn't even have to be actual dudes. They could be barn animals for all we know.
I'm just pointing out these women are saying, I'm only going to sleep with men who respect me. I'm only going to sleep with a man if I'm married. Holy shit. All it took was Trump getting elected for them to have that epiphany moment.
Yeah,
Wow,
Trump
morals
literally
are-
turned them conservative just by his election.
make America moral again.
Oh, I was saying, if America has a problem with abortions, do you know what would fix that? Women not having sex as much.
Yeah.
Kind of fix that in of itself,
What-
right? Can't
what-
take an
take
abortion.
response,
Sex.
take
Right, it's
response.
not
Well,
using
the
abortion.
thing, the big giant lie is that Trump destroyed abortion. Roe versus Wade was one of the worst pieces of legislation to ever go through. And what this did was returned it back to the states, and they kept on with their nonsense talking point.
Well, that's the thing, though.
He appointed those Supreme Court justices with the sole intent to repeal, to take away your abortions. Blah,
Well, even
blah,
Ruth-
blah.
Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg had come out, and she was a rabid leftist. Even came out and said that was a bad ruling.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, they've become somewhat accustomed to degeneracy, that whenever someone threatens to remove degeneracy from society, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, do you guys remember the ads that they were playing like the last week before the election about all the weird porn stuff, saying that,
yeah.
Republicans get into office, they're going to take away your porn. It's like, go out there and vote so you can keep gooning on your lunch break because you work at Hardee's. It's like, well, what are we doing here? It's like, these are our new
Good
commercials
grief.
now.
And you got to check that stuff out on the lunch break, man. I'm like, man,
Mhm.
God,
maybe I ain't been that horny since I was 16. Good grief.
Mm-hmm. It's like dudes can't even wait to get into their own homes anymore. It's just
I don't get it. Like, women are so fucking dumb. Their brains are so wrapped in bullshit. They don't even see it. Like, if we're supposed to, so women were obviously battled with what I said earlier, with like, hey, you should probably kind of not have sex with this many people. Women look at sex way differently than men, even feel from it differently than men. But no, we're just like men. We're equal. And I was trying to tell people, women and men are not equal. Okay, we're not equal in most degrees at all. First of all, physiologically, biologically, all that stuff. We're not the same. We're not equal. To stop all that bullshit. Women even look at sex differently. So the reason why women look at sex differently, obviously, because they're emotional. They take emotional attachments from that. Now, imagine if you have sex with 60 people.
It's almost, just hold on a second. It's almost as if that you're not actually made to sleep with 600 guys in 1 year. It's almost as if it goes against your actual design as a woman to just go around jumping from one guy to another, to another, to another.
Ooh, and that reminds me of some of those. Man, X is great and everything, and you see some stuff, you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then you see some stuff and you're just like, man, I really wish I hadn't have seen that today.
So new season of Pokemon coming out.
You see the Pokemon just
deport
dropped?
them all.
Hell yeah. I love it.
That's hilarious.
Oh, fucking hell.
Okay, so just quick little sidebar. We've actually been covering Pokemon for like the last 3 weeks, but we've come like the manga, but not the anime or the video games. And it's just like, I think it was Gold and Silver is where I stopped. Like once they said, oh, we got another 100 Pokemon after they had 250 at that point. And at that point, it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna keep going with this whole thing. Like, I'm out. And then now looking at here we are, 26 years later, and now there's over 1,000. And God knows how many video games and movies and mangas. Like, I couldn't tell any of this apart anymore. It's just like a weed that just keeps growing, and it's just like no one's cut that down yet.
Yeah, I'm too old for Pokemon. That was like before when I was in college. I guess that's when it came out. When I was watching Dragon Ball Z, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. I'm also not going to watch the one where they like, all right, let's fight, and then they break out a deck of cards. I'm like, nah, man, that don't. I'm like, Dragon Ball Z spoiled me. I couldn't. And I was too old to like get back into that, man. I was like,
South Park.
What do you want to bring up, Emerald? What do you want to bring up?
I was going to say that South Park already knew this back in season 2 or 3, when they were going through their Chin Pokemon, that they literally had a character called Shoe. That it's going to get ridiculous with names and how many different variations, that it's now just going to be regular object Shoe.
Oh, I want to show you guys this as well, because this was a headline from an Ivy League. This is what happened after Trump won. Not satire. Ivy League students offered crayons, Legos, and cookies with milk to cope with Trump's election win.
Harvard. We just have grown ass kindergartens. That's all we have.
Because this current generation, and those that have bought in and become sheep to the left, have literal arrested development. They are grown ups with children inside their bodies. They have never grown up, never had to take any kind of responsibility, are completely sheltered and shielded from the realities. And then they keep doing shit like this. And this is the exact reason why they act the way they do.
Well, they've been indoctrination camps back in the 90s when I was starting to go to college. Man, I could see it. I had like at the first 2-year university I went to, man, to like get some of the basics out of the way. I had a history teacher. He was a full-on communist. He was putting that propaganda garbage all the way back in 1993 and 94, man. So it's like, it's only I
believe Diesel, because I had a professor, and because we have to take all these stupid courses, and you have to take a humanities course. And I walk into the first day of that class, and the professor stands up there and he goes, "None of you know what is cool. I will teach you what is cool." And I was like, fuck you, that's subjective. And I ended up making that professor hell, and then I dropped out.
What was really cool, I had a guy after that who I took an ethics class from, who's a huge libertarian that had a class, was it a class 5 dealer license, so he could own full auto assault weapons and stuff like that, man. So he was big libertarian. We watched videos. It was like around the time Waco was going on. He's like, how come this video is so altered and all this kind of stuff like that? And it was like Waco and Ruby Ridge and stuff back then. That dude was awesome.
But think about it like this. Let's flip the roles here for a second. Imagine after 2020, you went to college and all of a sudden they were giving you Legos and cookies and milk to cope with the fact that Biden's now president of the United States. Like, you would probably punch someone in the face just for offering you that. And like, this is like where we're at now in our society.
When I was in school, somebody offered me that, I'd be like, I want my money back that I paid for this class. I came in here to learn biochemistry, not Legos and freaking.
I'm sitting here dropping 50 G's a semester for Legos. What the fuck?
I've been pointing out there are parents out here paying like $4,000 a tuition a semester for your kids to be given crayons, Legos, and cookies. And
these are Ivy League schools, so these aren't cheap schools.
Yeah,
this ain't cheap. How much does this tuition for Penn University cost?
How worthless is that, man? These things, that just shows you exactly how far things have fallen, and like how for the longest time, especially when I was growing up, the emphasis was on, you got to go and get your 4-year degree. You got to go get, that's how you get a job and all that kind of stuff. And then I did that. I was in that in-between stage where you go to college and whatnot, and then you get out, and then it's just like, I think sometimes I might have been better off if I'd have just learned maybe a trade or something like that. But then again, I don't know. I didn't want to do any of that. I was just like, man, I went to school so I wouldn't have to do manual labor. I worked all that through in high school and college. I don't want to do that anymore.
So to put this into perspective, a full year's tuition at the University of Penn is $69,000 for 1 year. And they're giving you Legos and Oreos.
That's 68,000.
69,000.
No, I'm saying that is $68,999 too much for that. If your class, if they're giving you Legos and cookies and milk, I mean, seriously, what is this? What a bunch of weak, man, what a bunch of weak soy-filled,
Harvard University of Pennsylvania gives students day off. Princeton professor emails students to postpone exams. Georgetown University builds self-care suite for stressed students.
I love Elon.
It's grown-up daycare. It's grown-up daycare.
Yep. Oh my god!
Now they're going to give you a nap time too.
One of the smartest people on the planet is like pathetic. Exactly, dude.
I mean, man. It's like, how do you not come to like a level of just embarrassment and shame as a person?
Because there is no shame for these people, apparently, man. Because everything you can't, that political correct nonsense has started creeping in, and late 90s, especially the early 2000s. I remember when that garbage started coming in, which is basically just like commie indoctrination. And you can't spare people's feet. You can't say Merry Christmas. That might offend somebody. Man,
well,
weak.
That and it started actually sooner than that, but it was the whole self-esteem. We must be more concerned about the self-esteem of the individual. We can't do anything that harms their self-esteem. We can't do anything. We can't stop them from doing that because that'll hurt who they are and their self-esteem. Well, no, Billy's acting like a little jackass. You need to reprimand him and correct his behavior.
Yeah, my dad I remember one time, like, it was hilarious, man. My younger brother, he put an earring in, and my dad comes up, and my dad's like just jacked, dude, back in the day, and he's like, he had glasses on. And he used to like do the workout stuff for the football team, and he'd be like, they called him like Superman because he'd come in and take his glasses off and go hit the. Anyway, he's pushing his glasses, son, take that earring out your ear, and he was like, no, and I think he just went like this. And then I think my brother just went flying backwards against the wall and was just shaking while he was reaching up there to pull that thing out, man. It was just like, he didn't even move. It was just like.
Here's another story of people.
Yeah, I saw this just a minute ago, man.
In Minnesota, a state that I think Harris actually won, this guy ended up killing himself, his ex-partner, his wife, and their 2 sons, all because Trump won the election.
That's crazy.
Because there clearly is a mental health crisis in this country that we are not doing a dang thing about, and is being
because we're pretending like these people are normal. That's the problem.
Yep, exactly. They're being coddled and they're being normalized. This is not the time to be normalizing mental health issues. It's the time of getting them actual treatment. We need to open up mental health centers again. Granted, I mean, they closed down the asylum system because they're evil, but we need to bring them back. We need to bring back the asylum system that is actually compassionate and will deal with the issue and not torture the patients.
Like I said, we're well past even that point. Like I said, some of these people just need to be locked up in an institution. These are people who should not be out in the general populace with the rest of us. They just shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a little bit nice about it. But
you're absolutely right, man. We need to bring back like mental asylums and stuff like that, and actually, like, no, we can't just indulge you. You're freaking crazy, okay? You can't chop off your junk and pretend you're and actually be a woman. And no matter how much you tried. Remember back in like 2020 or just a few years back, before Elon Musk came in and let that sink in. Before he bought Twitter, man, you couldn't say any of that, because I remember the first night when he fired that trash commie woman who was like over the stuff. The Hodge twins were all just like they just kept posting. It was hilarious, but it was like kind of sad at the same time. There's only 2 genders. There's this, that, and the other. They were just posting actual facts, and that would have gotten you banned before because of fee-fees and stuff like that. No, man. We need to address the root problem, because the self-deletion rate doesn't improve. I don't care what that's why the excuse for the whole doing that gender affirming care, which is like some kind of political correct way to say mutilation, man, is like that doesn't change. And their whole excuse for doing that is so that you won't self-delete, but that rate is still at like 41% regardless.
Yeah,
post and afterwards, the same thing. We need to address the root cause, man. And like a lot, like I saw this poor kid, man, when I was I feel bad for some of these people. They're broken, man. They're absolutely broken, man. And I wind up like praying for them a lot, because I just feel bad. I saw this kid at Target, man. He was probably 15, 16 years old. Like, this is about a month or so ago, and he was like wearing this. Dude was overweight. He's like wearing this skirt and this top, and he's going through the makeup at Target. And I'm just like, if this poor son bitch had one buddy, a positive influence in his life to be like, hey man, you know what? Let's go out after we get out of school, because pretty obvious he was a high school kid. And we're gonna do some exercise or something like that. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this every day. If he had like a good, like a positive friend, role model, something. And I'm just like, this poor kid's got nothing, because like, that's how you wind up in that situation like that. It's obvious that what he was doing was going specifically to a Target to buy that stuff at a Target, because that's where the inclusive, the protected class, your special class, that's like one of their things, right? When you come out as the non-trend, whatever it is, you go Target and all this kind of stuff. And it was just, I could instantly just see all that. That's what this kid is doing, man. He's in here doing this thing that he's been told that all these other people are doing, and it seems like they're being treated special if they're like that. So of course, people that are susceptible to that, or just maybe have low self-esteem or something like that, might gravitate towards that because it makes them feel special, because everybody wants to feel special once in a while. But I could just see it right then, man. If that dude had like some positive influences, like have a couple buddies, man, F that dude, we ain't doing that, man. If I'd have said something like that, I know a dude 20 years ago that when I used to hang out on the message board, this dude's then chopped his junk off and whatnot. And my buddy and I were talking about this because we used to hang out like 20 years ago. If you'd have gone about 20 years and told this fool what he'd have done, he wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. Like another problem that ended up happening is the media. Like I think the media definitely has had a massive impact on people, especially when they keep calling people bigots and Nazis and homophobes for not believing in the bullshit they're trying to sell you. That's not helping either. And
making these people out to, like they're special.
That's essentially what it is.
Special. They're protected. If they're this, they get treated a different way, that kind of thing. And that's going to influence kids. I mean, think about it, kids, man. Like,
it's the mainstream.
Dude, I was real, and if I thought something was cool back, because when you're a kid, two things: jack and shit. It ain't, man. I didn't start knowing anything until probably in my 30s, maybe even my 40s, man. Because when you're a teenager, you don't know, man. You know nothing. You just like whatever comes at you, man. You kind of, all right, that's cool. This is cool, but then you've got all this freaking lunatic nonsense coming at you and stuff like that, and you're thinking maybe some kid with just he's just got low self-esteem and could use some positive influence in his life. He's got this coming in, and then all of a sudden they're just like, yeah, you must be, since you got this, since you're non-binary, whatever, man. So it's like,
I mean, what we're seeing just in real time is that it's just the essence of evil. You know what I mean? People didn't end up like this over the course of like 20 years just because of, television shows, a couple of movies, and like The View. Like, someone's causing these people to act and react like this and behave like this. And the Bible tells us exactly who that person is, but a lot of people are still in denial, even though they stare evil directly in the face every single day, and they see people going crazy. They see them going insane and offing themselves and doing all this horrific stuff. And we're all just sitting here with our thumbs up our butts like, oh no, I wonder what's happening. What is causing all of this? It's like, really, you figure it out?
Well, just imagine every single day, just 365 days a year, 24/7 news cycle, CNN, MSNBC, a lot of the other news media outlets are calling this guy Hitler, and they expect people to not be afraid. They're literally painting this guy as Orange Man Hitler. So when this guy gets elected, people think like, damn, fuck.
That's what they want. These people have been dying for somebody on the right to do something, to do some kind of whatever the junk is that the people on the left do, something violent, something like that, just to go off so they can see, and use it as an excuse to crack down, to bring, all right, now since they're a threat to whatever, we can come in and bring in the military, use martial law, and this kind of stuff. So they're egging that on. They want stuff like that to happen because they keep vilifying the other side and telling them it doesn't matter if you commit actual violence against these people, because their words are violence. So they can justify in their brain like actual violence because what they're doing is violence. And anybody with an ounce of common sense can look at that and be like, no, man, that's complete and total garbage. It's bullshit. But you have that so long, and then no accountability. Nobody's being held. Hey man, they burnt down the whole country there. What, in 2020? None of those people got held accountable. None of that violence, man. There was some 17-year-old kid just because he was wearing a Trump hat got run over by some 40-year-old freaking demon. Some guy ran him over just because he had a Trump shirt on. Ended some kid's life.
People say there's not political discrimination that goes on in the country.
There was a stabbing by a black man of a white man, and his defense is he felt compelled by Joe Biden and what he had said to go after a white man, and that's the only reason he did it, is because white people are a threat to this country because of what he was hearing from Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. That's
white supremacy, the non-existent white supremacy.
I want to
the only white supremacy I know of is in American History X, and I ain't seen it. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to bring this up too, because people had always brought up that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. Didn't Colorado try to actually take him off the ballot? Isn't that a threat to democracy?
The party that's fighting for the right of democracy and to protect democracy installed their candidate.
Yeah, exactly. And this is this is a republic, not an open democracy in the first place, man, if you really want to get technical about it. But the fact that, like, democracy, it's just nothing but hypocrite. They want to protect democracy. They want to take away your ability to vote for the candidate you want to vote for. Or
if they can't do that, give it to somebody else, like illegals.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. Walter said, if mental asylums had compassion, they wouldn't all be shut down. It's a great idea in theory, but it's just another prison in practice that largely goes unchecked. A mental asylum is just another institution, and it will be run by all the same incompetent individuals that we claim today aren't helping them. You can build new building, but not new people. MSK, where's my free bag of cheddar and sour cream Ruffles you promised? Well, I put that as a title, not because I'm a genius, but because I feel like the title perfectly captions what has been going on with the world just right now, at least in the United States.
You can go to the store and buy a prop before you start
this
whole
thing. Those are gross, man. Cheddar and sour cream.
Those chips are amazing. Just pointing out.
Quick sidebar rant here.
Yeah.
Remember when chips had like actual flavors? If you go to like the store now, everything's just like variations of Flaming Hot, right?
My brother got some Doritos. He got some Mexican Doritos, and they were made like they used to be back in the 80s, man. They didn't just dump like about, a gallon of cheese dust on them like they do now, but he got some. They actually had a little bit of flavor and spice. I was like, I don't know where he got them, but like he brought them down and he was like, you remember this? And I was like, wait. That's when Doritos were. I remember when Doritos were good back in the day because they changed them. They changed that. That's a lot of. Hey man, God bless Mexico for keeping some of that stuff straight, man.
It's the Food and Drug Administration in this country. Other countries, that stuff's illegal. So if you want more food, if you want to see food that's a little more similar to what we had 20, 30, 40 years ago, you got to go to other countries.
When I go to like the grocery store and I see like Flaming Hot Lay's, Flaming Hot Doritos, Flaming Hot Cheetos, Flaming Hot Sun Chips, I see just everything, just variations of Flaming Hot, I think to myself, I think the government's trying to kill us because this has to be like literal poison at this point.
It's like you burn off your taste buds. It's like A Million Ways to Die in the West. Remember when they eat all that spicy stuff? Yeah.
The government's prepping us for when the food will have no flavor at all, and it'll just be gray paste.
Soylent Green is made of people. That's why we need to get RFK Jr. in there, man.
Spoiler
alert! SmackDown and Rand. RFK Jr. and Rand Paul were talking on X earlier. I thought it was pretty cool.
Put RFK Jr. in charge of the FDA.
Yeah, that's what he's going to go after, man. And because the people who are in the FDA go to the pharmaceutical companies and vice versa, man, so that they're just they just cater to this stuff so that they can we can put out the poison for you and then we can treat you with our cure for the rest of your life. And we got a customer for life.
Yeah. I think another big problem is, I don't know, man. People get so radicalized by these people and they just become, how does that happen? Do people not go hey, I hear something, but I'll kind of take what I want out of it, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like people are just hear what they're saying and they just believe it all.
And
nothing, and it doesn't matter. Like they become brainwashed,
and they don't have the ability. See, this is that disinformation, misinformation. They have to have the government or the approved whatever's tell them what's facts and what's not. You can't just go out there and figure it out for yourself. Oh my goodness, that right there is like the whole that just complete total trash, man. It's like they're gonna, all right, you have to believe this and believe that, and people believe that stuff, man. My buddy was so brainwashed. He's like my best friend, man, but he's still got some of that TDS in him for years of the lies and the lies and the lies that they've said, man. Well, his wife's totally gone. It's completely just he said she was asking him about who he's going to vote for because he was an RFK Jr. guy. And he said, I'm not sure. And then she was saying something about, what about racism? He's just like, what about it, man? I mean, like, who determines what's racist or not?
Yeah, these people on the left, a lot of them, their only talking points now is race and your freaking gender. That's it. They have nothing else.
Enough with that nonsense, man. That's all divisive cultural Marxism that got ushered in here by, like, all of them's Lord and Savior back in the day, Barack Obama, man, who went in there, was elected under being unified, because everything in the 90s was cool, man. Early 2000s, in the late 80s, everybody was cool with everybody, man. And then they come in here with this divisive rhetoric because they couldn't divide you by class, and how much money you made anymore. So they did it by race, by gender, by sexual orientation, all that kind of nonsense to divide people up and give you all fighting each other while they're busy. And they all hate everybody. That's the thing about it. They don't understand that these elites, they hate you. They freaking hate you. They want you. They want us all dead, man.
It goes back to the meme. It's a pretty older one that you have the Occupy Wall Street sitting there raging against the rich. So it is now class warfare. They realize this is bad for them. So what do they say? Introduce ideological politics. Mm-hmm. So that they would stop going after the rich. Stop going after.
And guess what came about right after Occupy Wall Street? Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Yeah, I think at some point the media, they're never going to be held accountable because they're backed by people with a lot of money. So that's never going to happen. But you have that one milk dud, egg-headed, ape-looking bitch who called the government of Florida a right-wing fascist government. Like, how in the world can you just say something like that about an entire state's government and not be in trouble? Like, your boss doesn't go over to you and be like, hey, I think that was a little too much there.
That woman's so despicable. Even her hairline hates her and is trying to run away.
That's kind of crazy. She never had hair. She was born bald because she's an ape. But I don't think she even had a brain. But
that woman is one of the most racist. I can't. She's just one of those people that's ugly inside.
The day after, remember the View? The day after, we're basically going for literally pro censorship. Like Elon Musk talked about these. He said if they win, they're gonna probably try and censor a lot of the stuff going on because they don't want this information to get out there. Literally after Trump won, not even just 24 hours later, the View were like, we should probably censor stuff on social media. Oh yeah, because the old 40, 50-year-old bimbo, dried up egg women who hit the wall 10 years ago, you're the arbiter of the truth. Yeah, I would never listen to women about the truth. That sounds like just going it. Might as well just put me in hell. Man, I will go to a insane asylum if you tell me to listen to women.
Man, if the View is like something they show people at Guantanamo to torture.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch the clips. I can't take it. I'm just like, it's kryptonite, man. It's like my crypt. It's just, I can't. It's like nails on a chalkboard combined with kryptonite, combined with, I don't know, getting kicked in the head by a mule and being set on fire all at once, man. So I'm just, I can't.
The only proper way to watch The View is Clockwork Orange style, with the eyes propped open. That's the only way you're ever going to get me to actually watch The View.
Oh, man.
Like, who watches The View, though? That kind of style of show.
Moms, I guess,
there's better views on that style of show on YouTube in hundreds and hundreds of thousands and what they're having to offer people. Who's going to listen to Whoopi Goldberg?
She's destroyed Star Trek: The Next Generation for me. That and most of the cast and what they've said.
Yeah, Walter, I'm being nice. It's like these basically hit the wall, dried up egg women think they're going to talk to people about some shit. These are like multi-millionaires telling you the average
they are the elite, man.
Yeah, and they're trying to tell you like, hey, I understand the middle class people. You understand being middle class? Aren't you like a millionaire?
That's what. See, they don't understand. They don't understand the groceries thing because these people don't have to worry about that kind of stuff because it doesn't matter who's in office because they're independently wealthy. They don't have to worry about people breaking their doors down because they have security, dude.
I know society's gonna love this about the media. Good old MSNBC. Yeah, keep saying stuff like this, and you guys will keep losing. They'll never understand why they lost if they keep saying stuff like this.
There's this sense, right, that whiteness, right, is under threat. The demographic shifts. The country isn't what all of these racially ambiguous children on Cheerios commercials are confusing the hell out of.
Just pause right there. Just pause. And then here we go. We're going to go rants against white people. Meanwhile, you guys lost on an almost significant margin the Hispanic vote. And that's why you guys got crushed all across the country. So this whole plan, and we're going to flood this country with Mexicans, and then they're going to be indebted to us. They're going to vote for us. And then all of a sudden, half of them went the other way. And it's like, oh no, this plan backfired horrendously. Now what do? Attack the whites.
I hate these people. They literally let... The same way Trump lives rent-free in their heads, they literally let white people live rent-free in their heads. This boogeyman they've created out of nothing. This fucking black guy, I don't know his name. I don't care to know his name. He's probably Worthless Monkey. That should be his name, honestly. Is going to tell you about whiteness. You know how ironic that is? Mm-hmm. He's going to tell you about whiteness. And then have the nerve to say people aren't having all these problems. Like, oh my God. It's not that people have these problems. They talk about them, but none of you acknowledge them because you think they're bigots or misogynists or racist and all that bullshit. You don't want to hear the average person. I truly try to understand. What does their party stand for anymore? Like, why? What does the party stand for?
Endless wars, warmongering, stifling free speech.
They should probably figure out like what their party's standing for.
Everything they used to rail and rant about George W. Bush in 2004, man, they have all embraced it. I mean, imagine going back. You see, you guys are younger men, so it's like 2004. I totally remember everything that was going on then. The Dick Cheney warmonger. Yes, he was. I wasn't fully awake back then and realized what a piece of garbage.
I knew I was on watch. In the Navy, the night the announcement we were invading Iraq was occurring.
Holy crap. You guys are old.
Eddie, a lot of people voted because their life's too damn expensive. And it was.
Yes, finally, someone with something of decent reasoning.
No, but there's a butt coming. There's a butt coming.
I will say this. It's a woman, so they're hypocritical. They're probably going to put their foot in their mouth. People literally said, I can't afford food. And you know what these people served you up? Abortion talk. We're not even living in the same world as some of these people anymore.
Here and
they voted for. You're telling me, Stephanie, that all of these people who believe that their lives are, that bread is too high and eggs are too high.
Yes. Have you been living in the real world?
That they voted for a convicted felon. A guy who said we can grab the pea.
I think that a lot.
They voted for this guy.
I'm not defending it, but I think there are tons of people that don't pay attention to, and I'm not defending it.
Wow. The thing is, actually, yes, that's true. I don't know what. That's true. A lot of people don't give a flying fuck, honestly. A lot of people just don't. A lot of people knew that was a joke. Actually, first of all, that was a private conversation that shouldn't have. Whatever. You guys know the story. I'm not gonna regurgitate.
Well, the thing is that again. The misquoting, the what he said keeps getting completely misquoted. He didn't say that he did that. He said it's the one thing about being a celebrity. Women will allow you to grab them by the pussy. That is what he said. He didn't say that he did it specifically. He didn't say that he just went and does it. It's the fact that he said, as a celebrity, women allow it to happen.
The whole
to
convicted
be able to
felon
get
thing.
close,
Come
to
on,
be
like,
part of
yeah.
the group.
The whole
That's what
the
he
whole
said.
convicted felon thing. They try to investigate this guy and just get him on bullshit that doesn't even matter, honestly. You know, what happened to that trial he was put on a few months ago? Oh wait, yeah, I didn't go over too well. And
All the federal cases are being dropped.
And this is another problem that these guys will never understand. When he just said that bullshit that he did, what if I just don't care? They try to be this, like, I don't know, this earth or this planet of just, I believe and I feel everything for you.
It's people who think that they have the moral high ground on every issue in society, and they absolutely do not at all.
Yeah, you can get off that. You can get out of your moral high ground nonsense. You're the same people that were demonizing all of us in 2021 for not taking experimental.
Wasn't this the same?
Breaking news.
Okay, Weapon. Yeah, Weapon.
Got breaking news. So I guess the AP's finally called it. Trump wins Arizona, flipping the state. Biden won in 2020. I guess they have finally finished the count in Arizona. That took
Don't pay attention to politics at all. But while we live in the most prosperous country in the world, people are saying life's not fair. I'm not doing well. My son's still living in the basement. I can't seem to get a job. I don't like the status quo. I'm voting for something else. And
I love you to life.
I love you.
But
okay, I love how she just
now he's about to.
That. You know,
she has to
This is how you know
preface
someone's
it.
not listening. Like, this is how you know someone. I'm not saying you guys, but this is how you know someone did not hear what you just said. He's so quick to just say something else. He didn't even bother processing what that lady just told him.
No,
like, isn't that misogyny?
No, they're racist.
You want to know MSK?
She has to go. I'm not saying that it's justified or a good reason, but I'm just saying that's why they did that. And it's like, you elitist pricks don't understand what the rest of us, like people living paycheck to paycheck, trying to buy groceries. Bread's like $4 for a loaf of bread, man, at Dollar General, dude.
Good Lord.
Bread was like, what, at the most, like $1.35 a couple of years ago.
Emerald, what would you want to say?
Oh, my joke. The joke doesn't work anymore.
Oh,
it's
my
okay.
God. Just like Joe Biden's brain. Put him. No, I'm just saying, like, you know, this guy's not listening. He came here just to spout bullshit. That's it.
I do not believe that. I cannot believe that.
You can't believe that average people just don't give a fuck about random shit.
You can't believe that people. Yeah, exactly. You just can't believe that people view their safety of their kids, the ability to feed their children, the ability to keep a home, buy a home, that these are more important issues than, but some woman's not going to be able to get an abortion. This should be the #1 issue in the country.
People aren't completely and totally obsessed with race like you weirdos are. 24/7.
Also, normal, average, everyday people don't give a fuck what someone tweets. That's you.
And then here's the other thing, right? If you can't believe that, if you can't accept that, maybe you're the one who's out of touch with the rest of the people. Maybe you're the problem. Did you ever consider that?
Of course
Maybe
not.
I'm the one about in touch with America. Nope, it's everyone else.
So you believe it? It's because you don't want to believe that that's what's really motivating them. It's always the case.
I love her look,
People
though.
don't want to believe what the country actually is, because if they believe it, they're going to have to confront what's in them.
That sounds like a you problem, bro.
Man,
that sounds like a straight up you problem.
That is projection on levels I've never seen in my entire life. That's a you thing. What the fuck?
If I was Princeton, I'd be like, you're not allowed to use us saying that I'm you're not allowed to, This is a professor, and I'm guarantee you. His class is probably about how bad white people are and how awful they are.
Hey, Eddie, keep my race out of your motherfucking mouth.
No, it's okay to trash us, man.
Oh God!
Keep in mind, this is coming from the same institutions that's giving you milk and cookies because you're upset about the election. Same place.
And Legos. Don't forget the Legos. They matter.
Don't believe that. They voted for a crook, a person who they know is stealing, from just doing everything to undermine the so-called country.
Pause just real quick.
Evidence.
Notice how he caught himself because he was getting dangerously close to slander territory. So he was about to say, well, Trump is stealing. He's doing things, you know. It's like, yep, go on with what you're going to say there, buddy. By the way, Princeton tuition is $63,000 a year.
That's crazy. Don't tell me that. That breaks my heart.
Dude,
Kids are out there wasting their money for that
how
shit.
many cars I could have? Like, man.
Oh shit! I hate these people. Yes, I'm glad they keep saying that. Keep saying that. There's no you would think when half of the United States of America, basically, let's be honest here, 95% of the United States of America just absolutely rejected them. They're like okay. You guys been to prom before? You guys been to dances, right? You guys been out with girls like being top G style. You ever like reject a girl and they just can't accept that they got rejected? They just can't accept it. They're like, I had to make every excuse in the book. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. Here, let's go over. We'll go over this other one, and then we'll go over what the society has right there. He's gonna talk about his best friend, John F. Trent. Oh Lord.
In the whole wide world.
Oh, good Lord.
No, I can't say that anymore. Abby's my new best friend now.
She doesn't talk to me. What the heck?
Well, there's a reason.
Black. That's because I'm black. Fucking hell. The only reason.
By the way, while you're digging that up, I just want to do a quick little sidebar. Alabama is absolutely smashing LSU right now. It's not even close.
I want to say good.
Yeah.
I don't know who to root for in that thing. I think I do. I always root for anybody that's playing against Alabama because I hate them.
Well, it's 28-6 right now. So
yeah,
it's
I know
LSU
ain't got. Yeah, man. See, I used to not be like that, but their fans made me like that. See, they made being an Auburn grad.
F your feelings, latchkey kids who came
go
up
back
with
to the beginning.
The Apprentice, who were.
My bad.
Yeah, go back to again.
Yet it was the hip hop and Hulk Hogan generation, the F your feelings, latchkey kids who came up on Dynasty, Dallas, and The Apprentice, who were the lone age group that voted in a majority for Trump.
Pause.
A majority.
Pause.
Not true.
Hooray for Generation X.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Imagine how much worse this country would be without Gen X.
Look at man. There's not enough of us.
Diesel, our generation did it.
Yeah, there's not enough of us, man. We need more. We need more people. We go out and drink out of the hose out in the yard. My best friend and I played with lawn darts when I was a kid, man. Those were giants.
It may have taken them 30, 35 years, but those hard-headed teenagers from the 80s finally came in the clutch.
Look at this headline right here. Young Americans to face the consequences of a second Trump presidency for decades.
No, lower gas, lower groceries.
Oh, no, I can't be a whore anymore.
Secure border. You won't have Felipe coming over here selling fentanyl to your daughter trying to kill her. Oh, the horror.
Oh, my goodness.
What am I going to do with my OnlyFans?
And medications actually made in the U.S. are products actually made onshore and not from foreign companies. This is the worst thing that ever happened.
Now I could buy a home for less than 8%. No, the horrors
of Gen X voted to turn America into an autocracy.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Kids and grandkids to a far-right Supreme Court, probably for the rest of their lives.
Good.
That Supreme Court ain't that far right, woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not just Gen X, because while 91.
Okay, let's just say this is
now she's going to blame everyone else.
Yeah, because 91% of black women voted for Harris, man.
I want to point out, I know some of you guys don't care for polls or anything, but let's just say they actually have data right here. White people, Harris 45%, Trump 53%, Trump.
Somebody screwed up on the
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, is that a screw up or they I'm just saying this is
here's the thing, they're legitimately retarded. So somebody didn't realize until it went live. Be like, it's supposed to say black. It's supposed to say black, but yeah, somebody put Trump on there twice. They're so emotionally distraught that he won the election. They can't even do their job right.
Yeah,
which makes me question their numbers if they're even accurate too. If they can't even fill out the.
Keep in mind, these people are probably getting paid at least $80,000 a year to do this job, and they can't even do it correctly.
And if you like look at that, we could go in there and use their own anti-logic or unlogic against them. 91% people voting for something, man. That's racist, dude.
So, assuming that this is black, that they're trying to put out there, that 91% of black women voted for Harris, that is even more of a instance that we should use to deport all black women from America. And that's what I'm running on in 2028.
That's what you're running on.
God.
Yeah.
10% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. 53% of white women.
Dude, you know what? In all seriousness, if I unironically ran on the platform of deporting black women, I could get at least half of black men to support me.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can too. I know. I know.
All I gotta do is bring up child support. All I gotta do is fit custody laws. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta get at least half.
You want to know what? It goes back to that
my buddy Drex would be right there with you, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That great meme of the Hispanic man that's just crying on camera. And saying exactly where his mother-in-law lives, and the fact that she doesn't have a dog and the back lock is always unlocked. Oh, she's so worried about her. It's literally going. He really hates his mother-in-law. Wants to get her deported.
Oh God, man!
He's like giving the address.
Yeah,
this kind of stuff. Yeah, she's not
hurled by J.D. Vance and the Supreme Court stripping women's bodily autonomy, courtesy of Donald Trump.
Oh, we can't worship Moloch anymore by giving child sacrifices. What are we going to do?
We take it to the states, you freak. They can't even comprehend states' rights because their whole religion, though, and you know this society is their religion is government, man. They've replaced, that's why they have this cultish like maddening behavior, man.
It's like.
I'm sure black men would be fine with deporting their black mothers and daughters too.
Hey man, all you have to do is look at how much you're getting garnished, brother. Imagine if that all just went away.
Also campaign by dropping the B word on Nancy Pelosi.
Oh no.
Oh no, man! Are you kidding? I've said way more, man.
The same people who call you Nazis every single day. Oh no!
Oh, how dare you call her a biatch?
The breakdown by education was stark. Harris won 57% of white women with college degrees and lost.
There's a reason for that. White women in college are stupid.
Yeah, are we talking about the Lego and Oreo generation? Because it's not really the flex that you thought.
That's not a flex. That's bad. Don't flex that.
63% of white women without them. It was also men. Trump won every age group of men, including.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've never seen that. He won every age group of men. That's crazy.
Are
all those?
Yeah, well, that's because this country hates women. Clearly, according to their worldview.
For sure.
60% of Gen X men and 6 in 10 white men. Also Latino men who, despite the utter disrespect shown by Trump and his promise to deport some of your mixed class.
That's not true.
No.
Oh my God. If I hear someone say this retardedly one more time, I'm going to have a stroke. He said we're going to have a mass deportation on illegals crossing over that are murderers, rapists, and driving fentanyl.
They're exposing their own racism because they're just pre-assuming that every Mexican has an illegal family member that's in the country that's going to get.
Man, I dated a Mexican woman in Atlanta. And she couldn't stand illegal. She wanted them all gone. This was 15 years
This is
ago,
literally
man.
them saying, it's like, oh, if we deport all the Mexicans, then who's going to clean your home? Who's going to raise your kids? It's like,
the
racism the Democrats
said that too. That was Pelosi that said that stuff.
There's Felipe who will clean the toilets at Home Depot. Don't discredit Felipe, the Puerto Rican. Don't discredit him.
Mixed status families, most of them voted in a 55% majority.
Good. Fuck you.
That means your plan utterly backfired.
You know what, man? If you people can't agree that we should deport, the illegals that are in our prisons, we can't agree on that. There ain't no coming to table term. There is no common ground with you people. If you can't agree and they don't.
I'm on board completely with deporting all illegals. I don't even care. Their first act in this country was to commit a crime.
Exactly,
if all their crime is that they came in illegally, then they can go back to their country of origin and you can submit and properly enter the country legally. If that was just it, because we deported. Now, if you have other crimes and stuff like that, then you are never getting into this fucking country.
Yeah,
you know what go on real quick before we play this video. You know what the theme song of I Should Be? like when they start deporting people when Trump becomes president, they should start playing the Pokemon song. I want to be the very best.
I'll point out that ugly, disgusting, seizure-looking ape was mad that J.D. Vance called Kamala Harris trash because J.D. Vance said, like, we're going to take out the trash. What? So you can't. What is with this?
She is trash, bro. She slept. She's just.
I'm saying, like, why is it bad if I trash talk my political opponent? Is that an illegal crime to trash talk somebody?
Mm-hmm.
You can't
but they sit on their moral high ground because they're so much better than you, so they can get on you for. I just called everybody a bunch of fascists and racists. How dare you call this strong women of color Indian derpa whatever the freaking her background is, like
emotional damage.
Oh, let's listen to this dummy. This guy
called one of society's favorite black men, Charlemagne, notorious fucking paid for shill, basically admitted that he lied about calling Donald Trump a bunch of things. Great to see.
I think that she should keep calling Donald Trump a fascist. And I think that Americans need to keep looking at the rhetoric of Donald Trump, because I don't know why we're even thinking about electing somebody who's talking about.
Pause real quick.
Yeah.
For anyone who's known Charlemagne the God before he started getting intermingled with politics over the last few years, this individual is objectively a garbage human being. He has admitted to on his own radio show that he's hosted for several years some of the most heinous, horrific things that you can possibly imagine. Like, if you're a person who thinks that Donald Trump saying grab him by the pussy is bad, go back and listen to some of those old clips of Charlemagne the God from like 2010 to about 2020. And it's like, it compels into, he's actually legitimately admitted to like things that can borderline be committed crimes, right? And this is the guy you're talking about, oh yeah, I can't believe Donald Trump is such a fascist. He's such a bad, horrible. If this guy's calling you a horrible person, that's
let me tell you,
on YouTube.
I won't say his name because there's only one God, and it's definitely doesn't look is not this dude.
Oh yeah, that's that whole New York 5% Nation of Islam black men are gods, and that's like whatever.
Whatever. Wu-Tang used to say that stuff too.
Yep.
What'd you want to
I forgot.
This guy's
ruling camps. I don't know why why we want to elect somebody who's talking about mass deportation. I don't know why we're having this conversation about somebody who wants to terminate the Constitution.
Don't y'all find it strange that now that he's won, they're not calling him a threat to democracy? They're not calling him a fascist? I mean, damn, on Monday.
They're not calling him anything.
They can.
Look at that switch up. That switch up was crazy. Holy shit.
Like a circus.
I would think that, if you really believe
Pause it. And then he sits there talking about you think that they're not calling him a fascist, as if he wasn't one of the people calling him a fascist. He makes it seem like, oh, there were other people out there calling him a fascist, but they're not doing it anymore. Like, you are one of the people. You.
Good God.
Speech would be about how America effed up and how things are about to be really bad.
He's the most powerful man in the world now.
It just makes you wonder how much of it did they really believe, or how much of it was just politics.
I think that
Good God.
It was policy in the campaign to call him all those things to try to scare people into voting for your candidate, which was a garbage candidate that couldn't even get a single vote during the primary when she ran in 2020 and had to exit before Iowa.
That Van Jones, did you catch that whole
we have
spiel
the
after
view.
the election?
I mean, one sec. Your body, my choice. Okay, Nick Flint. Good Lord, Nick. That's fucking insane. Okay, The View declares war on Hispanics for not voting for Kamala Harris. Oh my Lord. Who'd listen to these fucking dried egg thoughts?
And finally, we talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
Immediately goes to misogyny. That's all they can go with. No, your candidate did not win because she's a woman. Your candidate lost because she is a socialist piece of garbage.
Yeah, and she's
it's
dumb,
coping,
objectively stupid too.
It's coping on like a second grade level. That's what it is. It's like they mentally cannot accept or even comprehend in their mind that nobody likes her. So it has to be because they hate women.
Good Lord. I can't, like, this is the reason why they'll never ever get better or get back to a place of reason, because their first instinct is misogyny. What? Are you a parent? What the fuck?
The border. The border crisis is on their doorstep.
So yeah, I don't know if she's with them, but that's another big problem. Okay, so let's say you're raising a family. Okay, you have all these people pouring in. Now, okay, I will say this: maybe some of them are nice people. Maybe they really do want to be American, but that does not mean you come over here legally. First of all, and then second of all, that does not mean you have people just pouring in mass. That not only leaving that unchecked would cause a bunch of crime. That literally is like I believe. I have to agree with Trump on that. You got to secure that border. That could lead to so many big problems.
Oh man, it's like you don't have all countries. We can't. How much these elitist, globalist pieces of trash hate you, man? They sending all that money over to Ukraine for them to secure their border, but they want to leave ours wide open. What's the whole plan when they put Biden in there? Man, the whole thing was, what's the first thing if you want to destroy your country? What's the first thing you would do? Turn off the energy, open the border. There you go. That's exactly what he did right from the beginning.
Yep.
It's showing the bigoted.
Trump needs to hold that Mayorkas bastard. He needs to be put in prison.
It shows the bigoted nature of the Democrats and their worldview. The fact that county actually is a border county to the Mexican border. So you have that population, which is a high population, yes, of Hispanics, but legal Hispanics that hate illegal immigration, that are seeing them come across the border illegally right into the country, right into their county, and they don't like it either. And the fact of the matter is, it's the worldview again of them immediately thinking that all Hispanics love immigration, doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal.
Exactly, man. It's like, dude, they some of the most racist people. Like, if you ever see how they talk to any black dude that has left the Democrat Party, how they will just go into some, like, I'm talking about, man, I'm like, it's like it would make people in Alabama in the 60s blush. Like, good grief, where'd you come up with this racist stuff, dude? Yeah.
Holy shit. I hate this fucking show.
And they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to take some less.
That's what that was.
Yeah, right there. Look at what she said. Average people were saying, fix this, please. I'm begging you. That's what she even just said right there. She's look at this dumb broad. No, that's not what they're thinking.
Yes, that's exactly what we're thinking. You freaking
Lessons are not.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Whoopi.
Well, no one wants to see you. You're black.
Whoopi the Hut.
Oh Lord. What you're watching is the entire corporate news industry come to grips with the collapse of its only real currency, which is its ability to influence the population on behalf of government and powerful corporations.
Which is the definition of fascism.
Yep.
And so one thing that I think stands out also, we can't have this conversation, a little bit to your point, Dana, is that maybe it's not so much Democrats' policies or messaging or the words that they use specifically.
Yes, actually, that is the main reason why people didn't vote for them. Have you been living under a rock?
It's their actual policies, man. It's like they keep talking about like this thing that we have to change our message. No, everyone knows what you're talking about. Your policies are garbage. Name one good lefty policy. Name one. I can't think of anything. And all the worst cities in this country have been ran by like Democrats for forever. Man, look at Detroit, man. Detroit's like somebody dropped a nuke on that town, man. That place used to be booming. Yeah. Same thing. There's too,
an entire
man.
Right-wing media ecosystem.
Yes.
It doesn't exist on the left, and it does not exist in the center or mainstream. And people are getting their information in very different ways now. And Donald Trump and
talking about YouTube, people are getting their information from people on X. This is something that a lot of people do not understand now. The reason why people are able to be more exposed to things now is because the way that we consume media has changed. Like, gone are the days of like basically sitting on a couch and watching TV and you have some friends over, right? No, there's different ways to consume things now. You can hear more opinions. You can connect to the average person now. Yeah, that's how it works.
That's why the government hates the fact that Elon bought Twitter. It's why the mainstream media propagandists hate the fact that Elon bought Twitter. It's because they no longer control the narrative.
Voice.
Yep.
and Republicans and Elon Musk and Joe Rogan know exactly how to reach Americans where they are, regardless of age and demographic. And that played a big role in this because of the fact of like that, whether it was disinformation, misinformation.
People,
dude, if they would have won, they'd have tried to put Elon Musk in jail. They don't went after him, man.
Even using words like that, misinformation, disinformation.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that is just basically information or opinions they don't like, so they just call it
exactly, man. So they call it misinformation, which is like their little freaking newspeak, double speak for like trying to say that it's lies. Oh, it's misinformation. Remember when that freaking like Raggedy Ann, whatever her name, Jen Psaki, that demon was up there spouting off all that trash when when she was press secretary, all that stuff, man. That's like they were able to shut everybody down.
Diesel will have to circle back on that.
The way they did, and that and the American public felt as though that they were being heard by Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's literally would say the most. I'm not even saying that Trump is the smartest guy ever, which he probably would be. He's president now. He even said average things people wanted to hear, not just even from them. He said, we are going to essentially ban gender affirming care. Yeah, a lot of parents do not want to have their kids go through that.
No, MSK for minors.
For minors, yeah.
And but the whole
you're 18, you can do what you want to, but the fact that we even have to have this discussion, that stuff's evil. Doing that to a kid, man. Kids don't know anything. I already told you, I didn't know anything. Man, when I was 18,
Harris wanted to do. Kamala Harris wanted to have Kamala Harris wanted to have taxpayers pay for it.
Yeah, look, when I was 8 years old, all I cared about was Power Rangers, the Sega Genesis, and watching WrestleMania 10. That was basically it. So,
yeah, man, mine was like Transformers and like Commodore 64 games or something, man. So we
don't knock my Atari 2600.
Hey, man,
okay,
we had a Commodore. My buddy had an Atari.
We had one more here. I just love seeing this fucking piece of shit cry. I love
what do they have on him? The man show.
They've got to have something on him.
A prosecutor and a criminal, and we chose the criminal to be president of the United States. More than half of this country voted for the criminal who's planning to pardon.
No, I'm sorry. You people are the party of the criminals, man. Get out of here with that stuff.
I guess this election wasn't rigged. That's weird, though, right? I mean, he said it would be rigged. He said it was being rigged while people were in line voting.
This is all just emotional cult from Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Like he's so butthurt that Trump won.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Anyone wants to get talk? I got to shut this thing off.
Maybe play the video. Then we can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You remember this is the dude who put on he put on blackface so much that his girlfriend got into it too, man. You know?
Oh yeah. But like I said, all that stuff is conveniently forgot about as long as you spouse the right.
When he was doing the Karl Malone bit all the time on the Man Show and all that, and all that stuff. Yeah.
When he made it his entire career off of misogyny with the Man Show, right?
Yeah. At least Adam Carolla.
Last time the Democrats cheated. This time we chose not to. I guess I don't know.
That's because you had eyes on it, you
just
asshole.
Suddenly admitting that they did. That's just not admitting that you did cheat.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like I was saying before, like they had those trucks pulling up to those places with all of that stuff, but then we had eyes on it. I guarantee you, Elon Musk had not bought X. If there wasn't Rumble or any of that kind of stuff, the shenanigans would have went down again, man. But there were so many eyes all over the place on this thing.
Well, yeah, they were probably internally butthurt that they couldn't rig this election like they did last time. Which is shockingly, just so happens this election, Trump won the popular vote. Wonder how that happened.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know, right? And it seems like Kamala only won states that had no voter ID. Wonder how that works.
And somehow she got like $11 million less votes than Biden did just 4 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, what happened to those extra? What happened to all those extra? Yeah,
hold on. Wait a minute. You can't deny an election. You're an insurrectionist. You can't question the results of an election. You fucking are an insurrectionist.
You're a literal terrorist.
Literal terrorist.
Holy shit. Oh, God.
This Donald Trump, is like the Emperor from Star Wars. He's old, he's evil, and he keeps coming back with no reasonable explanation whatsoever.
Cry all you want. Cry yourself to sleep.
I heard that Star Wars franchise was at one point really good until your people corrupted it.
One minute I'm watching these long lines in every city and I think, oh, that's beautiful, democracy in action. Next minute, there's a reporter chatting with some bro at Arizona State who said he voted for Trump because Kamala didn't go on Joe Rogan's podcast. And I'm like, where did I leave my passport? Overall.
Oh, are you suddenly saying that your side of people don't say even more incredibly stupid things? Yeah, there's average people that say stupid things. Oh my God, news at 11.
It's not even stupid considering the fact that they voted for Harris just so they can kill babies. So it's like,
Yeah, I know, right?
was what the Arizona State guy said really that bad in comparison?
Well, the voting itself went relatively smoothly, despite a number of bomb threats that were called and emailed into heavily Democratic precincts in Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan.
Fake.
Pause.
Fake.
No, that's a lie because I know one of them happened in a county in Georgia that was not heavily Democrat, but was actually heavily Republican. So you can all miss me with that lie right out of the bat.
Not to mention
the whole
election,
thing. We're not the ones that threaten stuff like that. They're the ones that do that with their false flag nonsense.
Called and emailed into heavily Democratic precincts in Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan. Authorities say they seem to have originated in Russia. You could tell the Russians are running out of ideas when they're trying to disrupt our elections now, using the same tricks kids in the 80s.
It just so happened to be the Russians. It's crazy.
It's the Russians again. They're the big bad.
Are you sure it weren't the Ukrainians that want to keep
why in the
war
heck
going
would
on?
why
It
would
wasn't-
Putin want Trump back in office? He's been able to get away with whatever he wants, man, since since the machine's been in.
So stupid.
What'd you say, Emerald?
I was going to say it is quite amazing because we even had reports that back during election night, it was being reported. It was odd that in Wayne County in Detroit, election ballots were being delivered by cars that had license plates from California outside of the where the ballot should have already been turned in. So that was already, in a sense, very kind of suspicious.
Holy shit.
But the rest was not great. Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
Illegals!
Illegals.
Holy terrible night for women. Oh, fuck off.
And now he's going to cry.
For climate, for science.
For science? What are you, Bill Nye? What the fuck?
Bill Nye, Bill Nye's not even a scientist, and he's not a doctor. He's a fucking engineer.
Yeah, I know, right?
Free speech. It was a terrible night.
Talk about for free speech. You guys try to censor free speech. What are you talking about? Terrible night for free speech. Shut the fuck up.
For poor people, for the
you guys are just out of touch. Nothing can help you. You're out of touch.
Middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine.
This shows you how out of touch the celebrity class truly are, because they aren't seeing the eggs prices, they don't see butter prices, they don't see the cost of groceries. It doesn't affect them in any kind of way. And so this, I think, has been also an election that is a backlash against celebrity endorsements. How dare you come out and support a candidate that has been destroying the economy, and it doesn't affect you in any kind of way. And on top of that, you're being paid to come and give an endorsement.
I got something for on Jimmy Kimmel right there, man. I just shared it after this is done.
For NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted.
Terrible night for democracy. Holy
and
shit.
Decency. You get out of here.
For decency, it's like, why is it always like the friends of like Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein are always talking about decency and morality?
Well, I'm going to be talking
Speaking
about
of Epstein,
best friend, John F. Trent, the great Christian Jew man that loves and values Christianity.
Yeah, so this is a story that I heard yesterday, and I heard some rumblings that So let's kind of rewind here so you guys kind of understand the context. John Trent, the founder of Bound in the Comics, left us about a year ago, And the story that, he told us at the time was that basically the higher ups were trying to censor him because, he couldn't put things like child mutilation and really like the extreme words into like the titles of his headlines and stuff like that. So apparently somebody came and told him to tone it down, and then he didn't want to do it. So he just left. He took it as, oh, we're trying to censor his Catholic views or whatever the case may be. Whatever. He left, gave us 2 weeks notice. He went to go to that Park Place. Over the course of him leaving, like the weeks that after he had left, he started trashing Bound in the Comics. He started burning his bridges with basically everyone who he used to work with. Blocked me, blocked a lot of people in our circle. I think he blocked Rob, Rick. He blocked Cold Classic Cage, Spencer, who was his assistant editor in chief for many, many years. And Bounding blocked him too. So he just went on a complete spiral after he had left us. And then it was like, okay, after a while, John Delarose got involved in this whole mess because he wanted to take John's spot of being editor-in-chief, and they were like, no. And then he went and go start his own place, Fandom Pulse, which is now behind a paywall because I guess that's how well it's doing over there, I guess. I don't know. So this is what the story has been. Both of those guys have been attacking us for like the last year now because they're trying to say, oh, Bounding went woke and blah, blah, blah. And we're the real Christian conservative culture warriors, all this nonsense, right? So last week, I heard some rumblings that things were not going too well over at the new place, that Park Place. And basically, it was a repeat of the exact same things that led to him leaving Bounding in the Comics to begin with. They were told him to tone down his Catholic rhetoric, tone down his extreme articles that really don't do well with SEO, because at the end of the day, they are businesses and they are paying you money. So it's like, hey, in order to be effective as a business, maybe don't put, really absurd things in the titles. Now, I get it. That's kind of his shtick, because, it worked for a while, having these really extreme attention grabbing headlines. It works when you're kind of a small time player, not when you're actually trying to run a business. But yeah, news came out. There was rumblings yesterday before this went official, and then this dropped, and it was basically effective immediately. John Trent is no longer the editor-in-chief at that Park Place. This was released late last night on November the 8th, and here's what it read here. That Park Place is preparing for a bright future ahead with some changes that we're excited to announce. Starting November 9th, which is literally the very next day this article is posted, Marvin Monatanaro, I want to say that's his name, will become the new editor-in-chief at that Park Place. Will bring with him a new focus that is more theme park news, as well as a mandate to build for a full newsroom of editors, so authors, contributors, researchers, and reporters. It says that he's going to arriving with a history of working in newsrooms. Plus, he'll be spending a significant amount of time directly from our theme parks, such as Walt Disney World and Universal Studios. Now, here's where, if you read in between the lines here, probably was not the most amicable split between these two, because here's exactly what I mean. At the same time that Marvin takes his new role, John F. Trent will be given the title of editor. Atamiris, is that how you pronounce that? Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. I just didn't realize that everyone was muted but me. But he says that it would have been a great joy to watch John do what only he can do, building the site to new heights. John is also the founder of Bounding in the Comics, a site which itself, no doubt you're familiar with the success. Over the last few months, we've come to realize that Mr. Trent has a passion for unfettered reporting and communications beyond what Google News and other search engines might permit. Just the fact, let me just rewind and focus on that little sentence right there. Over the last few months, we've come to realize that Mr. Trent has a passion for unfettered reporting and communications beyond what Google News and other search engines might permit. That's literally just admitting there that the articles that he was writing, or at least the headlines of the articles that he was writing, was making a major conflict with the Google News search engines, which I don't know if you know how like these type of sites work. They really do rely on being able to be seen through like Google search engines, so they can find them, so that people can get a lot of views from the Google searches. And if you're putting, obscene things in the headlines of your articles, Google will suppress that, because that's how Google works. We all know Google is not the friendliness to our causes and stuff like that. So that's kind of the way that you have to play the game. And saying this mean that there was a conflict over the last several months about, you know, the articles that he was writing here, and they came to, I guess, a realization that it was probably best for them to depart ways, and this is why they're bringing the new guy in. It says, as a result, as we know, John will be joining John Delarose over at Fandom Posts for a Substack strategy of hard, unfiltered reporting for pop culture. Now, keep in mind, it's a Phantom Post was the site that John Delarose started after leaving Bounding, and because he couldn't get John Trent's job, and then he started attacking us as a means to prop up his site. And then when that stopped working, he took the site behind a paywall, and I can only imagine what they're doing behind a paywall at the moment. You know, that's their own business here. It says, we're excited to here's where it was kind of funny too. We're excited to see what lies on the horizon for Mr. Trent. At the same time, he has an open invitation to continue the write for that Park Place anytime he sees fit. Good luck with that one. You'll see John continue.
Bullshit. You know that's some bullshit. That's not happening.
And it says you'll see also see John continue to appear on many of our YouTube channels, which is DWD Pro, That Park Place, That Game Place, and beyond. Now, it'll be very, very interesting to see how well that holds up over the next several months. Because I will say this: when John left Bounding in the comics, outside of obviously the person who he got into a conflict with, it was somewhat amicable in the first couple of weeks, and then it deteriorated when he decided and when other people decided that they were going to make an enemy out of us. So I'll be very, very interested to see how well this amicable split, quote unquote, holds up over the next several months. But I do also find it very, very interesting that he says, but by the way, if you want to find John, you can find him over at Delarose's Substack strategy for hard, unfiltered news, which is kind of a second cheap shot on the way out, the way that I read it in between here. But it says change is never easy, or never fun nor easy, but you rest easy knowing that some of the great content that you have continued to come your way over on this site. In fact, our continued success throughout the tremendous relationship means that we're looking to increase the amount of content you'll see on here on a daily basis. Starting this Monday, we'll still be covering games, pop culture, streaming, vacation, all this other stuff. Basically saying the same thing that we were saying when John left. It's like, hey, look, we're going to keep doing the same thing. We're not changing on any kind of, like, you know, intellectual level or maybe a theological level. It's just we're basically being the same thing that we're doing here. Same thing that we were saying like a year ago. So very, very interesting here how I remember certain people who I won't name, and you're pretty sure you guys can figure it out, saying that we, Bounding in the Comics, without John would be dead in 6 months, right? And in the course of him saying that, we've actually gained almost 10,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, a lot from the help of our buddy Cider, who's really put out a lot of work to build up that YouTube channel to where we were barely functional beforehand. Like we were only really doing weekly streams and kind of doing videos every now and then. He really helped build us up over the last several months. So we've seen tremendous growth over there. We're now getting to the point where we fixed our editing issues. We have articles that are regularly going up. We have a lot of contributors. So we're doing a lot better than we were doing objectively a year ago when things were kind of like falling at the seams here. And we really picked things back up. And I don't know, maybe the fact that, you know, it hasn't even been a full calendar year since John left and he's already left the new gig that he left us for, that we're paying him pretty well from what I was hearing, you know, behind the scenes. You know, I won't throw out any numbers because, you know, I'm not that guy. But, yeah, it's just kind of weird how it seems like the exact same thing has happened. It gets to a certain point where you have to say, you know what? When the common denominator of breakup, especially breakups that happen in a rapid succession, is you, at some point you maybe have to come to the realization that perhaps you're the problem in this scenario and not literally everyone else. Like, I could accept if John had a problem with me, because I've talked about this on the show before. John was very, very upset with me because obviously I'm not the biggest fan of the Roman Catholic Church. I speak very heavily against Roman Catholicism, and he didn't really like that, so that drove kind of our personal split more than anything else. But it wasn't just me that he's had, you know, run-ins with. Like I said, mostly all of our guys who we used to work with, he's kind of shunned out over the course of the last several months. So it seems like, you know, it seems to be a little bit of a spiral from everything that I'm hearing from reliable people behind the scenes who have been basically saying that, oh yeah, we kind of see what you guys were saying a year ago, because now we're experiencing the exact same problems that you guys were experiencing. So now we kind of get that, oh yeah, maybe you guys were kind of telling the truth about the situation a year ago. And all I can say is, yeah, we kind of were.
So what's the over-under on him burning the bridges with That Park Place?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't expect them to burn bridges, because it seems like John Delarose and John Trent are both hardcore Catholics, and I use that in quotation marks, especially with De La Rose, but they all seem to be on this, we're this culture, was it Catholic culture warrior thing, that we're here calling out what's really going on. That they all seem to be on the same page as far as that goes. So if somehow those two were to have a falling out, which I doubt, just objectively, I doubt that's going to happen, but if those two were to have a falling out here in the next few months, there's definitely something else going on here behind closed doors. Like if he has a falling out with Del Rose, it's like, okay, there's a lot more going on to the story here, because
how long until he has to fall out with that Park Place?
I mean, apparently, if you read from the article itself, they said that this was a conflict that they've at least been having behind the scenes for a few months now. So considering the fact that he
worked, though, a lot of people don't understand. This isn't just like a one day thing. This has been a build-up for quite some time.
Like there's been conversations behind the scenes for a while here. This wasn't just abruptly, oh, I'm leaving, or hey, we're gonna amicably split. So assuming that this has been going on for a few months, it's only been like literally a calendar year since he left Bounding, so he's been having issues with them maybe between 6 to 8 months at the very least. So he wasn't editor-in-chief that long there, and he's already gone, and there's already some commotion behind the scenes. It's like, yeah, that kind of exposes a lot, because if you listen to him, if you listen to De La Rose, they have been telling a completely different side of events over the last several months about things that we were saying behind the scenes, or people that were running the site were saying behind the scenes, saying that, oh, they were the problem, they're all SJWs now. It's like De La Rose went as far to kind of like bury Spencer, saying that, oh, he's this woke SJW, the pronouns and all this other stuff. What he conveniently forgot to mention in that whole rant is that, oh, by the way, Spencer has been working with John for several years. So when you're talking about the good old days of Bounding, Spencer was there just as much as John was, and was contributing just as much as John was during that time period. But he conveniently left that out because he was trying to paint a narrative that the problem was everyone else but the person who left. So
yeah, okay. So from everything I know about the situation, I remember I had an interview with John. Me and him don't have any problems with each other. I don't think John's a bad guy.
Not until he figures out that you're streaming with me, then he'll definitely have a problem with you.
Well, he's white, so I like him more than you. Actually, he always gets privileges over you.
That won't help you.
So I remember he's the founder and owner of Bounding Comics. I remember he said he sold it, and then John De La Rose ended up working for him. John wanted to be the head editor, and then they didn't give him that position. But well, if John's the owner, then he's the one that didn't give John. It's whether both their names are fucking John. John didn't give John the editor position.
John with no H said John with an H.
So it's really crazy how John De La Rose, who I like John. I think John's content's pretty fun. John has his own website now called the Fandom Pulse, right? And then now he's going to hire this John for his website. It's just crazy. I don't get it. Oh my God.
And then, and then on top of all that, from what I have heard from reliable people, is that even after John spent an entire year slandering us at Bounding and the comics, trashing all the people, he's always trying. First, what he tried to do is that he tried to get us to jump ship and work with him in that Fandom Post. And none of us were going to do that. Like, none of us are going to work for John. Like, John was not going to be our boss. Like, sorry, this wasn't going to happen, right?
Warriors.
Exactly, but it's not going to happen. And then after months of him slandering us, then all of a sudden he tried to essentially like weasel his way back in, being like, hey, is there a spot for me? I can assist you guys. It's like, you've been trashing everyone here for like a while. And then apparently that may have been what led to him doing that video against Spencer. Once he realized that we weren't going to let him back, then he was like, oh, okay, well, now I'm going all it back in on my my tirade against Bounding in the comics now. And it's like, okay, like. And then it got so bad. Keep in mind, people forget this. If you remember about 2 or 3 months ago, John De La Rose tried to weasel his way into working with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, right?
Oh,
and essentially, he thought that this is when the whole thing with like him and Ethan Van Sciver were going on, and no one really wanted to be associated with anyone at Comicsgate at the moment because it become such a toxic. Exactly, right.
John's videos hurt Ethan so much. Sorry, no, my bad. John De La Rose's, that's because there's too many Johns. John De La Rose's videos on Ethan hurt him so bad, probably made him cry to his wife at night, that he privately asked John to stop making them and privately asked for a truce.
Yep. Well, not only that. So when the Ethan Van Sciver stuff was going on, Della Rose was doing a lot of brown nosing to Eric July, right? Eric July came on the show like once and whatnot. But when Ethan really started going hard at Eric July, obviously that caused a big split, especially with the guys at Geeks and Gamers. So Della Rose thought that because he was quote unquote cool with Eric July, that he can get kind of an in route with Jeremy at Geeks and Gamers. I guess John forgot that he had gotten into it with Jeremy years ago, where Jeremy essentially, I don't know if he blocked him, but basically just cut off all communications with him, like didn't want to be associated with him at all. So he tried to go back to Jeremy earlier this year, and Jeremy was like, yeah, sure, I accept your apology, but I'm not working with you because I don't trust you. Like, that's essentially what he said.
That's what Jeremy said. Jeremy said he didn't trust John De La Rose, and I was like, there must be something bad that happened between them.
Oh yeah. So then, when that happened, Della Rose tried to go after Geeks and Gamers, saying that, oh, look at these people. They got, the LGBT people working as far as their admin side or whatnot. And that pissed Jeremy off, because now it's one thing to go after Jeremy, but now you're going after the people that Jeremy works with. And Jeremy obviously didn't like that. So he went on a show that Spencer and Words of Paradise were doing, one of the streams that he was doing, and he jumped on the stream. Jeremy went live on his stream and literally went on like a 20 to 30 minute tirade against John Della Rose, like basically tearing him down, calling him a piece of shit, saying that he's completely untrustworthy, he's a scumbag, all these things. I think the stream is still up. Like, I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure that stream's still up.
You talking about Jeremy Griggs going on Words of Paradise?
Yeah.
Because I was going to be on that show, man, but
you missed out.
I actually had to go to my uncle's funeral that day, man, and I missed that show. And I came back.
Someone else got buried that day too.
But yeah, no, that happened several months ago. Like I said, Spencer was on that show as well, and yeah, like Jeremy just completely buried John Della Rose. And here's the problem with Della Rose, right? And it's like, I don't really have as much as a problem with Della Rose as I guess our problem is with Trent. But Della Rose, because he's so used to being in the Comicsgate bubble, he's so used to, dealing with like these little beefs with like Ethan Van Sciver, where they go after each other for a while and then they make up, and then all of a sudden they're on each other's stream again and trying to like make it seem like there's no big deal. It's like, that's fine in the Comicsgate bubble. Outside of that, most normal people, like when you trash them, especially publicly, they're not going to want to have anything to do with you afterwards. Like, there's not going to be no stream, because it's not like, from their perspective, it's like, oh, I got a book that I want to show. I got something that I need to promote. So I'll just come on your show. We'll both sell each other's books and get money that way. And it's like, Jeremy's perspective from Geeks and Gamers, he's like, well, dude, you already trashed me years ago. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't trust you. I'm especially not going to give you my platform to show your crap. Like, that's kind of his perspective on the whole situation. He doesn't understand. It's like, yeah, that crap might work on Ethan Van Sciver. It's not going to work on everyone else. Like, it's just simply not. Like, no one else is going to buy into that.
So it's my, because I've had John De La Rose on one of my older Iron Man podcast episodes when that first started. There's so many crazy things here. So John T has Bounding into Comics. He's the owner, founder, builds it up to this big website. John De La Rose said he ended up selling it, so they ended up becoming more corporate. And then John De La Rose tried to become the editor-in-chief. Then that didn't happen, which makes, so I don't know who did the hiring. I don't know who's doing the hiring process. Was John F. Trent doing the hiring process that's why he hired you, right? Or did you get hired from someone else?
So what happened with me, the reason why I came along is that, like I said, I've known John for a while. It's like we were, because I was doing My Site Society reviews around the same time he was doing Bounding in the Comics. This had to been like 2017-ish, somewhere around that time period. So we had known each other for a while, but I didn't ask him if I can contribute to Bounding in the Comics. So I think about 2020 was the time that I came on, and I was like, hey, can I contribute to the site? He was like, yeah, fine. And I think I went through him, and I'm not sure if there was another person I went through during that time period. Like, I'm not 100% certain. It could have been. I just don't remember. But yeah, I was mostly just me and him. And then that's how, I started working for Bounding. Then obviously I met Spencer, met Josh, and that's how we kind of got started. That was like 2, maybe 3 years ago when that whole thing got rolling. So, but I know John for like years, like before that.
Yeah, because if John De La Rose tried to become the lead editor at Bounding in the Comics, well, if John F. Trent is the owner and he's doing the hiring, then that means John T didn't hire him. That's just it. I just find that so weird.
I know John Trent sold the site a while back ago. I don't know the exact year of that transition. Like, you would have to ask him, because I don't know, like, when he was, like, basically when he sold it to Shauna and like that whole like group and whatnot. You would have to ask him the exact year that happened. I don't recall. Yeah, by the way, I found the stream. I'll put it in the private chat. You can watch it later. But yeah, like the whole rant is like there, and like I said, he rubbed the wrong people the wrong way.
I've read them. It's just sometimes when he shoots, and I'll be honest, I'm not religious myself. I don't mind if there's religious, like, what's the word? It's when something is not exactly shown. It's just kind of there. Like suboptimal. There's a word for it. So subliminal. Yeah. I don't mind subliminal religious stuff here and there. People like, even comics, sometimes I read them. There's some subliminal Christian messaging there. But no one's reading those pop culture articles wanting to be preached at. It's just not.
And if you know, and look, when John left the first time, I mean, when John left us a year ago, when John left a year ago, we were listening to people who were loyal readers abounding in the comics saying that the one thing they didn't like about John's articles is like they got sick and tired of the Roman Catholicism being shoved down their throat. Like they're reading the article and all of a sudden John goes to like quoting like some Catholic priest that no one has ever heard of, and he starts like listing down the catechisms of the Roman Catholic Church. And people are like, dude, like, we're not Roman Catholics. Like, we don't support like Roman Catholicism. Even people who are Christians on that site don't support Roman Catholicism. So they don't want to hear the 10 pillars of Rome. Like, no one's interested in that when they're trying to read an article about She-Hulk. Like, that was kind of like the disconnect there. Like, there's obviously situations where, you know, you can talk about, you know, Christian themes and kind of pop culture where something is directly being referenced to like a biblical situation or something that has some kind of significance to it where it actually makes sense. But a lot of it was just him just going on. It's like, oh, I'm going to use this article to talk about what Father blah, blah, blah said and list his completely out of irrelevant quotes to the story. People were like, dude, like, we don't want this. And honestly, another thing, I think somebody mentioned this a couple of nights ago. There used to be a lot of trolls that would come to our site, specifically the troll John, because he would always go on these Catholic tirades in the article. So of course trolls would like come here, and that's probably where a lot of our traffic came from for a while. Was people just going to go to war in the comments about Roman Catholicism, and after a while, like I said, people did get tired of that. And when I heard that, you know, I guess when they heard that he was leaving or that he was no longer there was a whole bunch of people who reached out to us. It's like, yeah, like that was one of the reasons why we either stopped coming here or we didn't want to work with Bounding. Lofty Pixels, apparently him and John got into it a while back ago, and Lofty was actually interested for contributing at one point in time, but you know, I guess John deemed him to be a heretic and didn't want him to work at Bounding. So that's what Lofty says. You talked to Lofty about that whole thing, but yeah, they had gotten into it for a while. There's a few other people who had gotten into it, and then, like I said, he was just spiraling there for a while, and clearly things have not gotten like much better. So.
Yeah, God, there's just so much stuff there. I mean, I do hope John and John have a good, you know, adventure there on Fandom Pulse. I hope, honestly. They're going to be the front row warriors in the culture war. Keep it up, guys. Just keep it up. I mean, hey, I have no bad blood with anybody. I like both Johns. I think both Johns are interesting in their own way. White, Mexican, both of them. And there's another John, the white John, John A. Douglas. There's John Longbox. There's 3 or 4 Johns.
That's probably the worst thing about the Bible is that it just gave all of these like popular names out there. Everyone's named John now.
There was a few people named Judas back then, but after Judas Iscariot, that name kind of went down the drain.
On John Longbox's channel, he had John De La Rose on, and I was like, "Hi, John. Hi, John." They didn't even notice it. They didn't notice their names were John. Holy shit. But yeah, like, man, the Jeremy Griggs one. Hey, dude, I like Jeremy. I met him earlier this year. Awesome guy. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've met Jeremy a couple of times. He's cool.
He's awesome guy. Yeah, like if you meet Jeremy, he's very nice. If you piss that guy off, you could tell that man is about to eviscerate you in ways you probably didn't even imagine. The way he had talked to John De La Rose that night, I almost felt bad for John. I was like, John, that you could tell he went in the corner and cried for a little bit. That was bad. I'm sorry, John. I like you, man.
I mean, he basically exposed to everyone now. It's like, yeah, by the way, I want absolutely nothing to do with you whatsoever. And like that kind of like blew up his whole spot there with Geeks and Gamers. Like he tried hard. Like I say, he thought that Eric July was going to be like his get around to like get in with the Geeks and Gamer people. But then when he realized that wasn't going to happen, it's like, well, there's another TNT bomb.
Too. I think Ethan only kept talking to Eric because he thought that was his gateway back into FNT. Nah, that was already burned.
And then not only that's another thing too. Even after that whole drama, like I said, there was a time period there where kind of like Ethan and John had stopped talking to one another for a while, but then they reconciled. But this is at the time where everyone just despised Ethan. So it was like you're starting to go back to work with Ethan again. At that point, people were like, "No, if you're going back to work with Ethan, then I just can't work with you like anymore. Like I'm not going to do it." And there were a lot of other people who worked with De La Rose for a good long while there who stopped working with him specifically because of his relationship with Van Sciver. Because, like I said, I don't know if you realize this, a lot of people don't like Ethan Van Sciver at the moment. He's kind of a pariah. So
he's a piece of shit. He's literally just. And then he uses his thing of like, oh, my wife has Parkinson's and my daughter's autistic. I'll just be honest right now, Ethan, no one cares. I know that's going to sound harsh. None of us care. Trying to gauge some sort of like emotion out of us for that is not going to happen. Oh, because my wife has Parkinson's and my daughter's autistic, that means I can just be a piece of shit to people. No, none of us care. I don't know your wife. I'm never meeting that broad. And to be fair, let's be honest here, if she's picking him to be her partner, her choices in men are probably in the absolute gutter, for being honest here. Like, to be fair, women don't really have the best choices in picking men because they're idiots, honestly. So, yeah. Oh, your friend, Cider, the guy who I talked to, awesome guy. He doesn't talk to John De La Rose anymore, too. I've noticed that as well. I don't know what happened there.
I'm pretty sure the whole Ethan thing hit him too, because I think Cider really respects Eric July as well. Then when Ethan decided to make it his life's mission to go after and try to tear down everything Eric has built over the last couple of years, that didn't sit well with a lot of other people, especially when De La Rose was brown nosing with him the whole time. So,
well, we just certainly live in the greatest time period ever. Trump won, people melting down. John leaving another pop culture news website to join the other John that he
leaving his second website in a calendar year over his conduct website.
Yeah, he's leaving to go to work for a guy that he didn't hire initially before. I just don't get it anymore. None of this makes sense.
That's the thing too. Like, this is a big part of like our argument. Like, when he first left, he didn't initially tell us why he was leaving. Like, so what happened was we were doing a stream on Wednesday night called the Black Pill stream at the time period. And I think it was like an hour before we went live, he sent us a message in our like message group saying that, hey, by the way, I'm leaving Bounding in 2 weeks, right? And didn't elaborate why he was leaving or what was going on. So we did the entire stream. After the stream went off, we were off air, and I was like, hey, so you're leaving. What's going on there? And he was kind of like, yeah, I'll tell you guys what's going on later. And he just dipped, right? So when that happened, it kind of made it seem like there was something going on here. It wasn't just like hey, I got a new opportunity or anything like that. So I DM'd him, and that's kind of where the whole thing started, where he was like, oh yeah, I'm leaving because they're censoring me and they're trying to gain access to like Disney or something like that, which obviously throughout the course of a full calendar year never materialized. So I highly doubt that was true to begin with, but that's kind of what started it. And then he got mad at me for saying that, well, yeah, you didn't actually tell us like why you left. It's like, you told me after I asked you in a DM specifically why you were leaving, because you didn't tell us exactly why you were leaving in the first place. That was the whole reason why I asked you.
And then he blocked you said, right?
Oh, he blocked me. He blocked Rob Motto. He blocked Eric. Not Eric. He blocked Rick Aragon. Who Rick is? If you blocking Rick, then there's something wrong with you. I don't know why you would do that. He blocked Cold Classic Cage. I'm pretty sure there's a couple other people that he blocked. I don't know, but basically anyone who was like remotely associated with me, he blocked on Twitter.
And all religion, like the whole religious thing too, man. It's like, even like people think just because you're religious, that means you just all get along. I had to learn that the different types of Christianity, they do not get along. Christians don't like Catholics. Christians and Catholics don't like Jews. Oh, so much stuff. Jews think they're better than all of them because they're God's chosen people. Oh my God.
It's a whole... And like I said, and that's probably another added reason why, Trent doesn't really like me most of these days, because like I said, I'm very adamant against the idea that Catholics or even Christian, because they don't follow any of the tenets of the Bible whatsoever. They follow the tenets and the traditions of the Catholic Roman Church. And that's really what it comes down to. So when you put down their ideals and their gospel versus what the Bible actually says, you realize that they're not even in the ballpark of what Jesus has actually said. And last week I did a review on that movie Conclave that just came out, and it was about a fictional world where they're trying to elect a new pope, right? And even the idea of the papacy and all the old idea of the traditions in Rome, none of this is biblical, like, at all. When you really search it down, it's based off of one text that is horribly.
They always go back to the "you are Peter, and upon this rock will build my church." That's what.
And that's exactly what we talked about. Yeah.
Always go back to, man. They always go back to.
And
like, what part of that says Pope? What part of that says any in this? Goes ties all the way back.
Well, not only that, when you actually pick apart in the rest of the Bible where it talks about the rock of the church or the rock of the faith, it's always talking about God. It's always talking about Jesus. It's like, it's never once is it mentioned that Peter is the rock of the faith, that Peter is the rock of the. Nowhere else in the Bible does it ever say that. So
and then it says you got this unbroken chain of people going all the way back to Peter, and I'm just like, you do realize that. I mean, Peter was a good dude, and I'd probably like go along with like his choice, but like you've got all these sinful humans making these appointing these things over years, so they're gonna do the same thing that Jesus would do. I don't know. I just there's so much. I have so many problems with some of the stuff. Now there's some good stuff in there, and I'm not going to totally write that off. And there's some good people in the Catholic Church, but there's a lot of stuff there that it's so weird to me, and I don't see any of it in the Bible. I read I've been rereading the New Testament over and over again. I don't see anything.
Well, yeah, like my thing is that, when the Roman Catholic Church anathematized the gospel, which is damning the gospel of Jesus Christ, death, burial, and resurrection that saves us, that's when they became an enemy of God in my eyes. But even when you look at, it was with the, I believe it was the Council of Trent, because it was a direct rebuke against the Protestant Reformation, when Martin Luther and a few other Reformationists were saying that, no, we're actually saved by faith in Jesus Christ alone, not by faith in working into the Catholic Church. So in order to stand against them in the Council of Trent, they made it so that anyone who believes that we're actually saved by faith in Jesus Christ alone is damned, according to the Catholic Church. And that still stands to this day.
Well, I'm sorry, but there's only one person that can damn people, and that would be God. And the last time I checked, the church is not God and is extremely fallible. And if you know, like I do, man, I grew up Methodist, man, and all the stuff that's going on with them, it's like, I just, we had to quit going to our church because they think our local church voted to stay with the United Methodist Church, which allows openly gay ministers, and to me that's heresy.
Yep.
And
there's a lot of things going on with the Methodist Church. So it's like, another thing is like, don't make it seem like that I'm defending other denominations that are not Catholicism, because I call out everybody, right? Like literally tomorrow night I'm doing an episode calling out Mormons, again saying that Mormons are not Christians. So yeah, don't think I'm just calling out just one group.
How do you
but
guys feel about Jehovah's Witnesses then?
They're not Christians either. They don't even believe that Jesus Christ is actually God, nor do they believe that in their interpretation, I think it's like the Archangel Michael is Jesus or some nonsense like that, which is like,
Lord,
there's people calling themselves Christians. It's like, you don't even believe in Christ.
Always trying to give you like papers and stuff. I'm like, I'll read the Bible every day. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't need papers. And like the Book of Mormon. Look, sorry, man, and I didn't realize this at the time. I think a couple of Mormons had given me that.
Oh yeah.
At one time and whatnot, but like,
yeah.
I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, God will add to him the plagues described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of the prophecy, God will take away his share in the tree of life and in the holy city, which are described in this book. That's he who testifies to these things says, Surely I am coming soon. Amen. Come, Lord Jesus. The grace of the Lord Jesus be with all the saints. Amen. That's the last words in the Bible. Anybody that tries to add to it, man. Oops,
Oh, yeah.
You can get
Well,
that
Jehovah's
stuff
Witnesses
broken.
believe because they go door to door like Jesus did, and that means that.
And
they're
why do
doing
their churches have no windows? Do they not want people coming to their doors and bothering them or something?
Yeah,
I would say there is. I went to the Jehovah's Witness church here one time. There is one cool thing they do at church where they allow the people to talk to the pastor as he's did something. That's actually kind of cool. I think it's a little cool idea. But outside of that, it's man, they want to come to your house. They want to come over every weekend. It's like, can I come over every weekend to sit down and talk to you about what? I'm going to church for that then. Like, what I need you here for?
And then meanwhile, they're trying to drag you to hell with their false gospel. It's like, yeah, that's
I don't know
great.
what. Well, I know that a lady stopped me a couple of months back at the grocery store, and I'm like, he's like, do you know? And I'm just like, yeah, listen, Jesus is the Lord and Savior. I read the Bible every day. I'm strong in the faith, man. So I just basically explained that to him, and you know, because I understand if some people, I wasn't exactly at the time, I didn't understand, and I don't understand a lot of the Jehovah's Witness stuff, but a lot of times when sometimes people will try to witness to you, and I'm just like, all right, brother, yeah, I'm there with you, dude. Read the Bible every day. Have to, because like I'm not right if I don't. I have a certain amount I read and I've been doing it for years.
Well, real quick, it's kind of a preview for tomorrow. This movie called Heretic, which is a movie with things like Hugh Grant, and it's basically he kidnaps two Mormon missionaries and like basically challenges their faith by like torturous things, and they're real like creepy stuff. But it goes deep into like the whole religion of like Mormonism. And for those of you who don't understand Mormonism, it's a new religion in the sense that it's only been around like 150 years or something like that. But apparently Joseph Smith, who's their prophet, was visited by the angel Moroni, who is nowhere in the Bible whatsoever. But he came to him and appeared to him and showed him that, oh, by the way, I have this New Testament, and here's these golden plates that are in Egyptian hieroglyphics, which, if you guys know anything about biblical context, the Bible doesn't have anything good to say about the nation of Egypt at all. So the fact that it was Egyptian hieroglyphics should be the first red sign that there's something wrong here. And based on that, that's where the Book of Mormon got created. That's where the whole thing of, the books that Joseph Smith wrote, and they teach people that, God the Father had physical sex with Mary to produce Jesus Christ, and that Jesus and Satan are actually spiritual brothers, and that if you live a good life and do good works, you can be the god of your own planet one day. And that's kind of like Mormonism in a nutshell. And like I said, this is all the revelation of an angel, and the Bible directly states that if anyone, even an angel from heaven, comes to you and gives you a gospel that is different than what we have preached to you, let him be accursed.
What I just read, man. Anyone that adds to or takes away from the words in this book, that's the last little section right there in the Bible at the end of Revelation, man. So
yep,
that's what I'm saying.
But Mormons convince themselves that they're Christians because, like, oh no, we read the King James Bible too. What they don't tell you is that there's also 3 other books that they read to supplement the King James Bible, and they're all heretical readings from Joseph Smith. So they don't actually read the King James Bible; they're still going off of their false prophet. It's basically Islam for white people. That's what the best way I can describe Mormonism.
That sounds like it, man.
Bible for the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Just pointing out. Well, now we're gonna end up wrapping the show here. I got to get some videos done tonight. There's so much content I got to get done. I got to get at least 3 videos knocked out. So I'm gonna take a break after this show for like about good 30-45 minutes, and then get back on the grind of making more videos. So as people know, we are about 1,000 hours away from hitting our 4,000 hours of watch time. I already have the subs. I just need to get the rest of the watch hours done. Got to get more people watching. So I got to put on more content, more free content until I start getting paid again. Damn, crazy. It's almost like I used to get paid big paychecks from YouTube at one point. Yeah, and then I lost it. So, Diesel, what you got planned coming up, man?
Space Jockeys tomorrow. Iron Oxide and I are going to. We're starting Resident Evil month, man. We're gonna go over which I've read with the games and stuff like that. And I've read all the novelizations of the games and the stuff in between, man. It's like 6 or 7 books, and it's just some cool lore. And we can't wrap all of that up into one show. There's too many games and too many things going on and whatnot. Probably wind up talking about the movies and some other stuff too. But yeah. Got that tomorrow, and that's at should be 8:30 Central, 6:30 Pacific. I think that's what time we've been starting. I believe that's right.
Yes, sir. So, Dragon Emerald Arrow, what you got planned coming up, man?
Well, I'll be back here on Monday, and I've started my new show, the Insert Title Here Show, which will be on Fridays at 9:30 Pacific time after Iron Show. Then back here again on next Saturday. I'm currently working on trying to slot a time for my other show, which is All the Good Titles Are Already Taken podcast. And as soon as I kind of get a time slot for that one, that's not stepping on that many toes, I'll be starting that one up as well. The Insert Title Here show is going to be more news-based and political-based, and All the Good Titles I've Taken podcast will be more pop culture.
So, what if I wanted to insert my title in your title and then have you take my title out?
That's what you get home title lock for.
Oh God!
Oh yeah, and then and a running gag of the Insert Title Here show is my sponsorships are random household items that are generic.
Sponsored by the box in my house.
Well, nope. The sponsor of the election stream was a blank white envelope, and the sponsor of last night's show was an old sponge.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I hope it doesn't wind up being like the sponsor of the show is Clover Valley brand coffee. Don't ever drink that, kids. If I think it's nasty, trust me, you don't want to touch that stuff.
Society, what you got planned coming up?
Well, like I said, tomorrow I'll do a full rundown review of that film Heretic on the Bible Ends on Sunday at 7 p.m. This coming Tuesday, the bar room is back at a normal time. I believe our 3 topics is Captain America movie now has a production budget of $400 million. So that's a whole
really?
Yeah, because they're doing more reshoots now. Juan Carlo Expedito just confirmed that they're doing additional reshoots even before the film comes out. So this whole thing is a disaster. Just you're talking about a movie that probably has to make about $1.2 billion to break even at this point.
But don't worry, man. Average people are gonna say, "Oh, it made $400 million. It's profit." Oh my God! Can't wait for
they're
that.
Gonna be such retards. So that's what's happening. Oh yeah, by the way, the other ones that apparently Daisy Ridley is going to be like the face of like the Star Wars universe again for some weird reason. Joker 2 is the worst movie of all time, and then I think there was like another story, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But that's some of the stuff we're talking about on Tuesday, and then this Friday, me, Rob, and Rick are going to be reviewing The Rock's latest movie, Red One, as we wind down the Friday Night Movie Club, which will be retiring after episode 100. So we're at episode 94.
That movie looks so fun. Like I get it, Hollywood can be a piece of shit, but sometimes if you're just putting out like fun movies like that, nothing agenda, nothing like, you know, it pronoun insert bullshit. I like movies like just pure fun. Give me that.
Hold on that thought, because you know you haven't seen the movie just yet, so I wouldn't make that statement. And then
you talking about Dwayne? Is it Dwayne Johnson movie?
Yeah, the Dwayne The Rock Johnson movie.
And I burned out on that dude back in like 2010, I think.
Oh yeah.
Remember when he said he was very angry at Joe Biden's party, and then suddenly these articles came out defaming him about being laid and peeing in bottles. Yeah, it's crazy how you talk badly about these people once and your career is just suddenly in jeopardy. That's crazy,
you
right?
Don't toe the line, not necessarily even talk bad. You just don't toe the line.
Huh. So as you guys know, for me, I'm planning on what I'm going to do for 2025, and this is what I'll be saying for the future episodes of this show, as well as on my Cloud9 podcast, is I'm going to be working on putting out consistent content like you guys have seen. I'm going to work on, sharing it on X, Facebook, trying to at least get at least a video a day to start out that. All right, at the most 2 a day. Any news that comes in, I want to just get the videos done, release them to you in a timely manner, in a shorter time frame. Like I make that check out my pinned tweet on my X account. That'll pretty much just tell you all that. I'm currently uploading all the episodes of the Cloud9 podcast to Rumble, currently almost done with season 11. Then when I get done with season 13, which is the current season right now, then I'm going to work on putting out more episodes on the podcast platforms to make sure that's up and ready to go, because I want to make sure that when this show's done or the other one's done, I just get the episodes out to you guys immediately, download them, put them out. I want to make sure everything's in sync coming up this year in 2025. One thing's done, and then it comes out to you guys. The other thing I'm going to be working on is I don't want to happen what had happened to me on my bigger YouTube channel views a year back, which was losing every video. So I'm going to actually upload every single video from my YouTube, from this channel and the comic book one, and the other ones I'm going to work on, to my Rumble account. So that way I don't lose everything. Everything is backed up over there. It doesn't matter if it grows at all. The views doesn't matter. None of that matters. All that matters is just backing everything up. So I'm going to upload all the pre-recorded content from this channel over there, and then all the new videos that come out after that. And the same thing with the comic channels and with the other ones I'm going to build up. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Tomorrow I have a one-on-one at 5:30 PST. I have the Cloud9 podcast, and then I have the show with Professor Savage Dad. So yeah, your boy is just knocking it out, honestly. So yeah, this show's been going pretty good, and you guys like it, and that's all that really matters. So thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. We will see you guys later. Have a great